What's going on, people? It is Tuesday and it's time for Ashmatic analysis. Oh my god, this is probably the first one we've had in weeks, to be fair.
Hey, listen. Look, I'll be real with you. Look, has it ever been this bad?
As a Spurs fan?
Can you
Yeah,
remember?
not in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Not in the
It's
Premier
deep,
League.
isn't it?
Aussie Ardelia's days, I remember them. Like, I have vivid memories of them. I was a kid and they were bad. but we had good players.
Are we on level to that, or am I over exaggerating? Am I moving mad, or let me know? Am I going crazy? Am I going too far?
But the problem is that with Aussie, there was no Europa League semi-final involved. There was no Europe.
That's the difference. I think that's where, like,
So we're seeing both sides here. You're like, oh, okay.
I think the question on everyone's lips is: would you rather have? And we said it last week: top four and nothing, or 16th, 17th. And a champions. I say champions. A Europa Cup. I got too far ahead myself. A Europa Cup. I was just watching Champions League. That's why I got twisted. But yeah, like it's that kind of. You know what I mean?
Do you know what? And we'll go through this with the guests tonight. It's massive. It's absolutely massive if we don't make Champions League. Absolutely, like crazy how far behind we could fall because of mistakes that have happened in the last 2 years. Well, not last 2 years, the last 5 years, and that includes when Kane was here and not giving Kane the team that he was required to make sure that when he left, we're not in this situation.
So much to unpack right now.
So much to unpack. And you know what? I don't even think we're going to even talk about the Liverpool game on Sunday. Spurs have literally given us news after news each day. I'm like, what the hell are they doing to us?
Villa don't want to move the game. They're like, listen, that sounds like a new problem about move the game.
Bro, we wouldn't do the same. If we were going for Champions League football and you knew the other team, you would not want to do the same. So I don't know where Spurs are going on their high and mighty. But to be fair, it could be moved to the Saturday. No, we're not playing that week.
They want us to have less rest as well, because we will be Crumble and we rest players as well. That's what.
They want us. They want us to play.
It's in there, kind of like
they want Kingsley to play in it again.
Right, make sure you like, share, subscribe. We've got a big show for you today, man. I hope you will enjoy it, man, and share the love, man. Hit that like button; it helps us to get seen. I always say it, but it really does help us, man. So,
as you can all tell, me and Ash haven't really spoke to each other in a week. So this is why we're catching up now. But let's get the guests out, man. Let's bring them on because it's about them. It's not about us.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to say a big welcome back. I've not seen him in a while, but I'm in a WhatsApp group with him. And I just literally read the comments. But a good welcome to Spurs fan John from what's it now? It's Tottenham.
Lads, it's Tottenham. But I am also in the Cheese Room audio podcast, which isn't on YouTube. It's just an audio. I'm part of that group as well. So, yes.
Hello.
I've got a few points, guys. Christian Gross time was terrible.
Yeah.
We lost 6-1 at home to Chelsea. There were some terrible times. The Aussie Idealist thing was all because Teddy Sheringham got.
And then we had Ginola with Gross, so he kind of got us out of a hole.
It was still bloody awful.
It was bad.
Under Aussie, it was all because of Teddy Sheringham. We were top of the league at one point early on, and then Teddy got injured, and the whole season fell apart. It wasn't two centre-backs, it was just one striker. That's how bad it was.
Reminiscence of anything.
Barnaby. Oh, we're not Barnaby. Barnaby, yeah, Nick Barnaby them days, man. I enjoyed them as well.
We had the big five. We had Popescu, Dumitrescu.
That was his second season.
Yeah, second season.
That was his second season before he got sacked.
Yeah, the famous five.
Yeah. But yeah, Gross was pretty bad. Santini lasted 7 games.
Santini's an interesting one, because Santini was the first time we had a director of football. Like, we moved to a director of football. We had Frank Arneson. Frank Arneson was like meant to be the big guy, and he said, "I want Martin Jol," and then Levy said, "Nah, I want Jack Santini."
Yeah. Because they promised. Because what happened was, and this is the whole Enoch situation. Before I bring the guest in, he had said he had promised us Spurs fans that they wanted to bring in a big name.
Yeah,
and then they were going to serve up Martin Jol, and it was like, that's not a big name like you promised us. We should have known from them. And then they brought in Santini at a left field. Martin Nelson was going to be the assistant. He was fine with it. Because I think that deep down, Arneson and Yol really knew that what was going to happen.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
just like repeat. It feels like it's repeating itself. History just repeating itself again. Like with the people, like Levy just getting involved, doing too much, and after Santini got sacked, obviously Martin Yol, he came in, and then Martin Yol after that, it was Arneson got taken by Chelsea because of Abramovich turned up.
Yep.
Imagine that. The one time we're like, yeah, we've got a proper. And I remember Santini didn't really want to play Michael Carrick. Imagine that.
No.
He didn't want to use him.
No.
Bro.
But that's why you listen to your. And I know people go. This is why when Paratici came in, and I know he didn't want Nuno at first. He wanted someone else, didn't he? And they wanted Fonseca.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
and they all settled on Nuno, and he had to go and show him footage of Nuno playing four at the back of Valencia and show him the style of football to convince Levy that he's not a really defensive manager, but he is.
Yeah.
But he is what he is. But John, thank you for welcome, as always. Next one. I'm so glad he's actually on tonight because he had a power cut last night. The whole country did. So we should be counting our lucky stars that he's able to join us tonight. So, but I want to say a big welcome to Chris. Hope you are well.
Thank you for the invitation. Is that John that's with us tonight? Yeah, pleased to meet you. Pleased to be on. Ash, Marlon, and everyone watching. Lovely to be here. Yeah, the whole country, like the whole Iberian Peninsula, like Portugal, Spain, and the south of France. A bit of it, apparently, depending on what news outlet you're affiliated to, we'll say the south of France as well. But the whole country was blackout in I think 80% or something. So yeah, we didn't get a power back until 5 o'clock this morning, where I am. But yeah, we're alive. Had to try some new yogurts and a bit of ham on, so we're fine. We're fine.
Good to have you on. Thank you, Chris.
Good to be here. Thank you.
And then you introduce him. I don't like him.
I'm just going to get my popcorn, all right?
Yeah.
Oh, you just bring him on. They do that. All right, pick up to the chat as well before.
Yeah, because he's going to come on, he's going to big you up and not say, and then go, Marlon at the end and go, yeah, I'll forget about you. Nah, talk about me first. I'm jealous. But it's been a minute. It's been a minute. He's back. He's helping. He's come back for tonight. But Alex, you well?
Hey, he's got the trim as well.
He's got the trim as well. I know, he's looking fresh.
Lady killer.
There's a reason why I'm called the ratings killer for a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we just had like
the ratings killer for a reason, you know what I mean?
Knew what was coming. They've all gone.
I don't even know what we're going with this, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you just need to invite somebody because you knew that I was going to be talking some truth again, isn't it? But anyway. It's not that I was been falling asleep anyway. I've been falling asleep most of the time watching Tottenham. Not that I was actually that bothered anyway. I've been watching people actually, losing their mind after Liverpool. And I'm laughing. So anyway, we'll get into it anyway. Back to you guys, man. Yeah, I mean, big up to everybody who's
big up
the panel. Big up the panel. Big up you, Ashmatic, and big up Marlon. Even
though
you talk waffle. Even though you talk waffle. Anyway, you know what I mean? You're being too big time now because you're going on other channels that I don't even care about. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, back to you guys. Sorry.
I big up PSG as well. My guys. Hey.
Yeah, big up PSG.
Look, before I get excited about PSG, right, I'm just going to say this. It's got Ajax written all over it. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm going to wait.
That's their moment, yeah?
I wouldn't surprise me if Raheem Sterling comes on in that second half.
Raheem Sterling?
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling? All players.
Because he reminds me so much of Lucas Moura.
No, I don't know about that one. Can't co-sign that one.
It might be Waneri, to be fair. When I saw him come out, I said I forgot about him. But it'd probably be him. I wouldn't be surprised. 2-0 down and then they
I was
bring it
going to
back.
say maybe Martinelli more or Trossard.
No, Martinelli can't finish. He that first chance he has in the first.
Today said it all.
Yeah, like I don't want to talk about Arsenal, but it's just great to see when they lose. All the atmosphere. Oh yeah, this is what happens when you manufacture atmosphere. When you go down in the first 4 minutes, it's gone. You forget
What's
that.
trying to manufacture an atmosphere at the moment. So
But speaking about atmospheres, speaking of atmosphere, let's go into Liverpool quickly.
do we have to? I mean,
Yeah. Look, for me, worst Spurs overawed by the whole occasion, and literally just the players went, "You know what? It's their day. It's not ours. We're our big day's Thursday."
is that a question? Is that a question or is that a statement?
That's to you. Yeah.
I think 8 changes were made, and that just said everything. That just set the tone for me. Do you know what I'm saying? That just set the tone for me. Like, this is what you're telling the squad. Like, Liverpool went full strength, yeah, and they had a league to win. You saw outside the stadium, bumping, fans out, flares going crazy in the stadium, fans going mad, rare tear. But it's still no excuse because we had a fully fit team on the bench, on the pitch, and off the pitch. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's all I got to say about that, because so many heroes turned into villains that day. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure we're going to talk about a certain Lucas Bergvall who signed a new contract. But I'll be real. In that game, it was a bit stinky. What's his name? Oh, I forgot his name. Archie Gray.
Do you know what? I've been propaganda against Archie Gray since the beginning of the season. I've always said I don't see what people see in him. However, for me, I'm gonna be, and a lot of people were against it. That was the perfect game for me for him to play. I wanted to see him.
Perfect game.
Yeah.
Why?
Because remember, I think I said weeks ago, the 2 games where he has no pressure on him and we can see who he really is. Chelsea away, which he didn't get a chance, and Liverpool away, because those are 2 games we don't win. And the way we were playing at the time, I said we're not going to win them anay. So he might as well sit there.
So why did he get taken off at half time then?
Because he's not as good as everybody thinks.
Oh, you're saying like that?
Yeah. He's got a lot to learn, and everyone was a lot of Spurs were overhyping him because he was doing this job at centre back, but he was costing us a lot of games due to his positioning and whatnot. And right now, Archie Gray is not going to be the player that we all think he is, and I think he's more an attacking kind of player because he's so good on the ball. He needs to be on the ball.
You see more than 8, is basically saying.
But the problem is Bergvall's there, and if I'm picking one out of 2, I've seen Bergvall go like that, and Archie Gray just literally stagnate, and we haven't seen Archie Gray for weeks.
But to be fair, if Archie Gray had the same amount of games, same amount of time, Bergvall's had to thrive in that position.
No,
is he not going to be able to? Because he hasn't really been given that chance.
I know he hasn't been given the chance, but you can see it when they both play. But everyone said when they first saw Bergvall play, you kind of saw you saw talent. You saw why Barcelona wanted him. With Archie Gray, it was a bit like, what's his best position? There's still that question. There's the difference.
You know what? It's debatable. It's debatable. I'd say.
And
I need to see it personally because I haven't.
Bergvall, he's worked his way to be a first team player, and yes, he's played in his position. But when Archie Gray's either played right back, left back, or played in the centre mid, he hasn't shown us anything. That we are taking him off at certain points of the game because he's not quite ready.
I personally would have played him in against the Southampton game. Southampton, for me, I would have played him then. Do you know what I'm saying? At home.
But we needed Bentancur to get confidence.
What do you mean? Why do we need Bentancur to play? Anyway, it's not about
because of the Europa League stuff. This is the problem. This is the balancing act that Andrew's got to play at the moment.
You know, I'm a
otherwise, you mentioned Archie Gray. I've got to jump in.
Well, let's throw it out to John, and then
go on, John. What did you make of Sunday? What was your reaction to it? What was you feeling afterwards?
Okay, so from the start, no Spurs fan with any modicum of common sense expected us to get anything, did they? Let alone when you saw the team. That's the first. Oh, Chris apparently did. Were you drinking, Chris?
That was a problem. I wasn't drinking enough.
So, never expect to get anything anyway. We knew our minds would be on Thursday and set the team up for our minds to be on Thursday, which again we all said he should make changes pretty much. With Archie Gray, I think he was thrown in the deep end. I think that's a bit harsh. He hasn't played that role for us really. I think he's had a few minutes here and there, but against basically the best midfielder in the country.
Sorry, John. You're saying Ange threw him into the Lions' den. He let him get skinned alive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but shouldn't he be?
I've got this one flying there.
But shouldn't he
Green
not
line
be,
of Guernsey.
But you know when Bergvall was thrown into, like when Bergvall's been thrown into the deep end, he got taken off like that. It's about the mentality of the player.
Yeah.
And I, for me personally, it's not Archie Gray's. I don't think there's better midfielders that he will come up against in the Premier League. Midfield threes, for me personally, Newcastle probably have the best midfield three and will be the toughest that anyone will come up against. But that won't be the only one. But against Liverpool, I kind of feel like it was just more to do with the Anfield more than anything. And I wanted to see what he'd be like when he got thrown into the Lions Den, because sometimes this is what the young players need. And I feel like Bergvall's stepped up to it, and I don't think Archie Gray has. I'm not saying he's a poor player. I'm not sitting here saying, and this is the bit that I want everyone to get. He's not saying he's a poor player, but I just don't think he's as good as what people are making him out to be. He's not quite there yet. That's all. And I think that was the perfect. He played in midfield against Everton. Everton couldn't perform, so he got the Liverpool chance, and he still couldn't perform. You still have to ask yourself questions. That's two different contrasts of teams.
He played centre back in the back three against Everton,
but he came into the midfield.
He did. Okay. I missed that part of the game, fortunately for me.
Yeah.
I just think the midfield blend was probably wrong with Maddison, Gray, and Bergvall in there. And is Bergvall's brother his agent or something? Because why on earth has he signed a 6-year contract with this shambles of a club at the moment? Fair play to the club for getting him to sign that. I just think the blend was wrong. You set the tone. Romero and Van der Ven, we've played Liverpool 4 times, haven't played a minute against them this season. And although they've both had moments, Romero's had many moments this year of making mistakes, I think, and losing players for goals. We're a much better team with them in when they're playing. So, and when Liverpool get going, they get going. They're just going to kill you off, and they probably could have scored easily more against us. It could have been a 7 goal again. And then, we started off not bad, and we got an early goal, which was a surprise to me. I know one of my mates put a massive bet on Liverpool as soon as we went 1-0 up, and he made quite a nice little bit of money because the odds changed. But I just think, I said this on Sean's show on Sunday, I think you just got to write the game off, move on, because it's all about Thursday. The only thing I would say is in Frankfurt, we stopped mucking about with the ball at the back. We had to kick it out, we kicked it out. We kicked it long, we had to kick it long. We didn't really do that on Sunday. We were mucking about at the back again and inviting pressure, which led to the second goal and then onwards.
Chris, because I know you have different points of view on this. So go on.
Good.
What was your reaction to Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of reeled in a bit of hope when we went 1-0 up, and you thought, right, well, they got the pressure, they got to win, at least draw, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have any pressure because basically the season's over. We're all, in Europe. But then when you go 1-0 up, you think, right, we got them now. But we started making the same stupid errors as always. Bland. You've got 7 different players. 8. Ash had 8. 7 new players from. But there's one. But Spence played right wing instead of left wing from the game before. I think I've got it here. Spence played left back against Forest, and then he played right back against Liverpool, and then there were 7 new players in. So, I mean, how can you have familiarity? How can you have cohesion when you're chopping and changing, either whether it's you're tired or injuries, whatever, or basically it's damage control? Because basically it's damage control. Get the players, get the minutes in, get them pumping a bit, game time here and there, and we're all concentrating on Thursday. But obviously you go to Liverpool, they're going to win the league, obviously, or presumably. And 3 points, as John said, no one really thought that we would do anything, contrary to what we would have liked. But I just see the same silly mistakes over and over again, and it doesn't matter who plays. It's just some kind of lack of motivation or blandness. I mean, Gray played, I think, according to my stats here, That's the second time he's played in midfield as a starter in the whole season, right? And our 11, right? Our 11 has only played together once, which is the strongest, right? Is the strongest team. The players that have played the most, they've only played once, which would be Vicario, Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogi, then Bergvall, Bentancur, Madison, Johnson, Solanke, and Son, right? Those are the players that have played together the most games. And we've only played together once, and that was a draw against Frankfurt. So how can you have cohesion? How can you have familiarity? How can you have all of these things that Liverpool have got, that Newcastle have got, that Arsenal have got, that, you know, Man City have trying to get back, but they've always had? How? You just can't expect anything from Liverpool, you know, that Liverpool game. So I think it's damage control. Get the players a bit of, you know, playing time and pump in for Thursday. Because I think that a long time ago, I think that that's what's going on.
Wait, so just on that, do you think then if Spurs had their starting 11, the one that had cohesion, the team that, you know, has familiarity, as you were saying, do they now give a different result? Is it a different performance? Like, what's going on if they were to play against Liverpool?
If the strongest 11 played?
Yeah, if the strongest 11 played against, would there be a difference? Is what I'm asking. Would there be the same mistakes?
Possibly, because I can see it's endemic. You look at Romero, for example. He makes the same mistakes as he does for Argentina, or he has, not always, but he has the same as he has done here. Right, the goal that Forest scored the other day, like was it Chris Wood scored? I think anyone can see that he wasn't goal side. Now, if you're a world class, World Cup winning, whatever you are, £40+ million player or whatever he cost, you know you're going to have to get goal side. I mean, no manager has to tell you to get goal side whenever a cross is coming in, right? And I've been doing the statistics, right? And you know, for myself on a huge spreadsheet. And this afternoon I was looking at all of the times, all the players involved in all our goals conceded. Bland, wrong side of the goal, stupid mistakes, not covering, ball watching, and leaving players free. I mean, yeah, you can put it down to if you can put it down to a manager if you want, but if an elite footballer, right? Now, I'm not talking Archie Gray because obviously, you know, or Bergvall, because they're coming through and one has been better than the other, more prolific, which is Bergvall. Gray's been outplayed, you know, he's played all along the back four and in midfield twice. Can't really count him. But you're talking about Dragoshin, who apparently is, you know, pretty good. He's decent-ish. Played in Italy, should be a good defender if you play in Italy, right? For the characteristics of their you know, their football. Comes here, he's ball watching. The amount of games I've gone through, Leicester, Brentford, blah blah, all of them, list by list. I've got them here. Ball watching. He's lost his mark. He's tried to press, but he's left another man free. Porro, Udogi, absolutely disgraceful. If you analyse it, you know, game by game, goal by goal, absolutely disgraceful defenders we've got. And if you start from Romero, which is supposed to be the, you know, the you know, the standout defender, absolutely atrocious defending. I mean, you know, it's just a mistake after mistake after mistake. And a lot of people can say, and you know, I've fought with a lot of people on Twitter saying, yeah, but surely the manager has to do that. The manager's accountable to a certain point. But if you can't do that yourself and realise that either I press or I cover the space, my God, I mean, you're not fit to play in the Prem. I'm sorry, but you're not, you know. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag, but it's difficult. It's difficult to watch when these players, when they turn it on, they can play. I mean, you look at the 4-1 routing of Villa, the goals are great. The football was great, you know. The spirit that we had against, in the Cup against Man United, yeah, okay, 4-3, the result looks a bit, you know, but the game was all right, you know, it wasn't that bad considering. But I don't know. I mean, there's loads of stuff that I could say. I could go on for 5 hours, you know, speaking on my own, because there's loads of stuff, loads of it. But, you know, I mean, going back to your question, I don't think that there would be much difference because there's a lack of cohesion and lack of familiarity because they've all been out, they've all been rested. They haven't played like Liverpool play. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, Slot's inherited you know, a very, very good competitive long year, you know, multi-year team of players, bar one or two, but they signed 2 players this season, Mamardashvili, who's still in Valencia, and Chiesa, who played less than I did. So it's still the same team, right?
Yeah.
They may have slightly different tactics here and there.
He tweaked it because Gravenberch wasn't playing as deep.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. So Gravenberch has been included,
and Trent.
Yeah, and
Trent's not been being exposed.
Yeah.
Going too far forward because they know he can't defend. So that, but
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
So is he not looked to their weaknesses and gone, this is the way I'm going to set up so it doesn't counteract that? Because no one knew when Gravenberch was with Klopp that he could even play that role. But yet Slot's come in.
Do you know what? I think that Gravenberch was a very, very good player, very good talent in Netherlands.
Yeah.
And then he went downhill when he went to Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich, yeah.
You know what I mean? So whenever he comes in and someone gives him, that obviously you're Dutch, you got a bit of knowledge about psychology and all of this with your Dutch player that's struggling. But if you give him 3 or 4 simple tasks, he's going to be the player that he is now. And he's proved the whole season that he's a bloody brilliant player. And he's probably the same player as he was in Ajax that just went downwards because he went to a different league and wasn't given chances. So I think that it wouldn't have been a big, 5-1 is a big routing. Maybe it wouldn't have been a 5-1 because defensively we wouldn't have been a bit better, but you still lose. I mean, it's not going to be 2-1 like we did last season with them getting 2 sending offs or whatever it was. It wasn't going to be that. But 5-1 was a bit of a routing, but deserved. So
Yeah.
Alex.
Box office. Go for it.
Yeah, sorry. I'm glad when I'm on shows because people say silly things and then I can just pick it apart. Firstly, John says we played well against Frankfurt and we were very defensively, very, very good. I wonder why.
Oh, I said no. That's not what I said. I said we were better. We didn't muck about at the back.
I
That's
wonder
what
why.
I said, Alex.
I wonder why. Because you know why? Because he knew his last minute his job was on the line. So he went to his coaching staff, and people can vouch for it as well, which he did against Man City, which he did against Brentford. Because what do we do afterwards? We went back to Ange Ball, so I know exactly why. And if people are saying, because what have people said, and I was on channels as well saying we need to give Ange credit. I said, why? Why do we need to give him credit for? Because he decided to do that. Well, no. Because he should have done that a long time ago. And this coaching staff told him that. All the players done it. And if Ange did it, he's a terrible manager. Sorry, we're not doing this. Yeah, that's the first thing. Secondly, to talk some truth to people, Chris says about the team haven't played a lot of games recently. And played together recently. And what's the percentage of games that Romero and Van der Ven have turned up in, by the way, or missed this season? What's the percentage?
I can give you that. How many have they missed?
Yeah, missed.
Yeah, Romero's has been out 107 games. Van der Ven has been out 104.
This season.
Sorry, days. 23 games Romero, 30 games Van der Ven, and that's all through injury. You can go to Odobert, for example, who is.
Well, I'm not talking about Odobert. I'm not talking about Odobert. I'm talking about Romero and Van der Ven because we're telling you told us that he's the one. Those two are our main defenders, right?
And your
our
goalkeeper.
Main defenders, I can tell you, right? They've missed a lot of football. Right, there was one time it was about 73% or 72%. Whatever it was.
I don't know the percentages. I've got the games. I've got the games through injury, and 24 Romero. Hang on, let me just go back to it. 23 Romero and 30 games Van der Ven. With Vicario, obviously, if you want to, choose the keeper as well because he's important as well. He's been out.
Well, I'm not really going to go on about Vicario, but I'm talking about Van der Ven and Romero, who are supposedly our best pairing, which is not true because our best pairing has been Dragusin and Davis. Let's just get that absolutely crystal clear right now because people completely forget about that, don't they? Because who was playing against Man City when we won 4-0 that it was waxing lyrical about? Oh yeah, Davis and Dragusin. We completely forgot about Dragusin because he's by the wayside, by the way. Yeah. Not to mention Danzo, who, let's be honest here, Danzo's a proper defender, unlike Romero. And I'm sorry, I'm still questioning Van der Ven still, because he still relies on his pace too much still. Yeah, so that hamstring's going to still be ticking soon. You know what I mean? So when people keep on telling me about our we don't play our centre backs, well, they don't hardly play most of the games. They weren't even playing that much last season. Last season, we were struggling with injuries because Romero's always getting self sent off. So I'm sorry, this waffle about us getting a full team. The people saying that we didn't play our full team. Our midfield this season have hardly had that many injuries this season. Have hardly had any injuries this season, and it's been bang average at best. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? It's funny this, you know what I mean? Because I've been talking about Mr. Bots on Mr. Box Office TV, that this guy, Mr. Ange Postecoglou, that I've said that I couldn't back, that now everyone now saying the same thing that Mr. Box Office is saying right now, saying, "Oh yeah, I claimed it now." Really? Okay, really? Right?
Hold on now.
Now I'm
Hold on.
saying,
Hold on. You
no,
said we had to
event's
stick
still
with
speaking.
someone. You said we had to stick with someone, and we
Yeah,
have done. So you should be backing him now.
I will get to that. I will get to that.
If I could just include, to be fair, Alex, you did say a long time ago that you weren't having Ange. I'll give you that 100%.
Yeah.
You were saying a long time ago.
By
I
the
think
way,
what
this,
Chris is. So I just come back to
Yeah.
you. I think what Chris was saying is we haven't had a set team, as in it's not necessarily the same two centre backs, as in Romero and Van der Ven. But we keep chopping and changing because of injuries or because Angie's changing it. We haven't had a settled 11, so they're not growing partnerships within the fullback to the right winger or whatever. I think that's where he's trying to say, because
exactly.
we've had so
It's
much.
it's 11. Sorry, John. It's literally 11 games that the supposed starting 11 through games have played this season. 11 together, right? And sorry, is that correct? 11 together. They played one time together, which was the Frankfurt game.
Okay,
so if you talk about
that's on Ange though. That's on Ange. That is on Ange, because Ange really should have made sure, because he has run this team to ragged this season, right? This is why we've got injuries, right? By the way, you need to bear with me, yeah, because if you stick with me a little bit longer, right, okay, I'll get to the good part where I actually am supporting you. Because if you've been watching my channel recent times, especially my recent video, I'm actually saying some good stuff about actually forehand. So just wait for the good part. Anyway, moving on, right? Because you know what I mean. Just so you know, because Chris, I know you support Ange, so you're gonna love this. But anyway, moving on.
Don't get me wrong. I support managers, and I understand that the manager's role, okay, is the visible party, and they always get the stick, and sometimes it isn't their fault. So we have to contextualize, right, why we've lost 19 or 23 or whatever it is. Why, okay, and it's very, very difficult to get to that point in saying why, because it's not just that, as easy to say you're the spearhead, you're the visible party, you're the one that's okay, I fine. And thank you, Michael. It's not always the manager's fault. It could be the technical analysts that recommend playing because what they've seen in a training session doesn't give them good vibes. But then he might turn up on the night. You don't know whether their sleeping routine is good. You don't know. There's so many variables that happen behind the scenes that for us on this side, you think Ange is to blame for everything. Do you know what I mean? But it might not be. Do you know what I mean? You look at Man City, for example. A lot of people don't know that Guardiola was going through marital problems, right? And it's not just Rodri. It could be his personal as well. So the way he treats the players, he could be taking out his personal issues on the players. And you might think, that's not very professional. Yeah, but he's a human being at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes when
he's back together. He's back together with his wife, by the way.
Yeah. I see they're trying to work it out, but
results change.
All of these things happen, and it's not just a stat that we lost another, and it's 17, and we're 16th, and we lost 23. To me, in my opinion, okay, is there's not just one thing that goes on that a manager is. He's a visible party.
Chris,
yes,
I get that,
but it's not always clear cut.
Yeah. But the problem you've got is especially in the football industry, it's always going to be the coach that's at the front end. And when you look at, yes, those problems probably what you're talking about. Some of them problems were here before with Conte, Mourinho, and possibly Nuno, but the results wasn't as bad. And I think that's the bit where people are now getting with it and going, it's not that, look, I think all of us can clearly see that the players, most of them, are not good enough and the ones we've brought in. However, when you compare it to the rest of the league and look at the 20 Premier League teams, us and Manchester United, I'm going to throw Man United in this, should not be in the bottom half of the table at this time of season. And we should not have lost 19 games, no matter with the injuries or without. I think that's 10 you could take, 10, 12 you can take, but 19 where we're losing to Ipswich at home and Leicester at home. And that Leicester game, for me, was the day that Ange lost it with me. I lost complete faith that this team were playing for him because nobody was losing to Leicester. Nobody does. And we ended up conceding, we conceded 2 goals, and the tactics that day was so bad. And there was no excuses for that. It was that was all on Ange and the way we were playing.
No, I hear that, but Mr. Box Office was going to get to some good points. Like,
sorry, Alex.
He was thinking too much. I want to break down what he was saying.
Chris, never apologise. Never apologise. It's football. Don't worry about it, Bob. You know what I mean?
No, mate,
anyway, moving on. Don't get used to it, though. Don't get used to Mr. Box Office being nice. Don't get used to that. But anyway, moving on.
I've got this already.
It's recorded. We got it recorded, haven't we? Yeah. Being nice.
It's going out as a YouTube short tomorrow.
but just to say the point is, though, yeah, you're absolutely right. The stats are terrible. Like I say, the whole thing with Archie Gray and Birdval. So I'm not gonna have any tears for them because they were saying at the beginning of the season, which I said on Mr. Box Office TV again, not to put some things on my back, pat my back like this. You know what I mean? Saying that they said we don't need any midfielders because we've got Archie Gray and Birdval that we're really impressed with training. I said it was a big mistake. Oh, look what happens. Big mistake. Big mistake. You know what I mean? You know?
Birdval's been all right.
No, because everyone's going over the top because we've been so crap this season. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but
he's been okay.
He's been okay. First team. Yeah, he's been okay. Okay, let me ask you this.
Oh, here we go.
Midfield 3 right now. Your best midfield 3 that you would play right now. I know how poor we've been, but who's your midfield 3?
Well, at the moment, yeah, you've got to put Birdval in because at the moment he's doing well.
He's good enough. If you're picking him, he's good. You're not picking Archie Gray.
Okay, because we didn't have anybody else to put in the midfield
but this
as well.
Is with the fully fit squad.
Because Basuma
You're still picking Birdval. You're not picking Archie Gray, who I literally will say yes, you're right. But with Birdval, he's done well. He's earned, considering how crap this season's been, and yes, he might have played poor in the last game.
But he's not Wharton.
Yeah, but
he's not Wharton or anything like that.
Yeah, but go watch Wharton against Manchester City and tell me how good he was then. Because Wharton in the last few months
like
Wharton has thrown his frailties. So yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't think people watch.
Okay, so is he better than Dele Alli's first season?
Who?
No.
Two different contracts, 2 different teams. Sorry,
I don't care. I don't care.
You give Pochettino Birdval when Dele Alli was here. Birdval will be something completely different.
Based on what?
Because Ange Postecoglou for me is not a very great coach. And
so now we get to the conversation now, Bob. Now we get to the conversation now. Again, we get to that conversation.
We haven't got good coaches.
There we go.
We've said that from day dot. We've said that from day dot.
No, I've been saying it from day dot. You've been waffling for about a year or so, and then you came back to see what Mr. Box was saying. That's what you need to say, bro. That's what you need to say.
No, because you still ain't said.
This is funny, though, Bob. I didn't even have energy for this. Now you give me energy. You give me fuel, Bob. You give me fuel.
You should be.
You're making mistakes. There you go.
The only man you should be the only man right now who should be on Ange's side, because you also added that you need to see a project be stuck by. You need them to stick by manager. When they've stuck with Ange, why are you not sticking with Ange?
Okay, listen. It's not waffling. I was actually going to get to the good part because this is exactly what I was saying. Why did he pick that team? Why did he pick that team? Because after that Frankfurt game, woken me up big time. Because
which one, home or away?
Away from home when we won that game, right? Because what did Ange say after it? Oh yeah, I'm going to be hanging about a little bit longer than you thought. Then, yeah, right. And then when he said, oh yeah, he's going to, this could be a revolution, and we could evolve the team. Did nothing. Did the same thing, right? So it's all based on Europa League now, isn't it? It's all based on Europa League. It was all based on injuries. earlier on in the season, but now it's about Europa League. Because let's be honest here, yeah, right? He should have been sacked in November. He should have been sacked in November. It's too late now, right?
What happened in November? Well, after Ipswich.
Yeah, he should have been sacked in November.
Nah,
Should have been
Tamworth.
should have been he should have been sacked in November, December, and that's it for me.
Yeah, but
It's
he
too
wasn't.
late
Yeah, but
now.
in November and December, we wasn't. We were win loss, win loss, win loss. We wasn't. There was always that bit where most people thought there was still hope, because you could go back to the video we did back in after Ipswich, and most fans, apart from a few, still had a little bit of hope. And then the injuries literally happened, and it was then we were going to start seeing the metal fans. It was until that time. I think after Tamworth, he should have gone, because that was when it was. You knew he wasn't going to change.
We knew he
Hang on,
wasn't going to change for a long
November.
time.
In November, we played 5 games, won 2, lost 2, drew 1.
Yeah.
So
It was the Ipswich game was just out of the blue. If I remember correctly, Ipswich was completely out of the blue at the time. November wasn't the time
Ipswich
to
was on
sack
the
him.
back of the Galatasaray away game. And as we know, teams that tend to play Europa League struggle,
Yeah,
especially when they play away games.
because Villa was struggling after Champions League games,
Mm.
which people forget. Villa was struggling.
But we gave Andrew that squad in the summer. That's the thing. But we're getting to the good part, and this is where Ange fans are actually
We're just picking
going to
by
love,
everything you say.
actually going to be surprised. But
Are
they
there,
wouldn't.
genuinely, Alex, are there any Ange fans really left at the moment? Genuine question.
Well,
Yeah,
at
Alex.
the moment,
Yeah, I am. I
moment,
defend him.
let's
Okay.
be honest here. Let's be honest here, yeah, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now he's got through that Frankfurt game, and what happened now? Bodo Glimt beating Lazio. I think we're winning the Europa League now. I think he's going to shit himself to the Europa League right now, which I've said on Mr. Box Office TV. Because let's be honest here, right? This is why people are angry, right? Because really, we should have played our full team. We should have played our full team against Liverpool to get us in form, because we're not in form. We're in terrible form, right? That's why recent form, right? Well, from the form from the Liverpool game when we lost at home 6-3, I think it was. The form table, we would have been 17th in the table, right? Which is damning, right?
Brighton.
Okay.
Well done, Brighton.
And for me, right?
Hmm.
People saying, "Well, we can't take Dodo Glimt seriously. We got to take them seriously. We got to do this. We got to do that." I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if we can't beat Bodo Glimt, what are we doing here? What
Yeah,
are
but
we
we are
doing here
16th
at home?
Alex. We are
At
16th.
home, I'm sorry. We should be beating Bodo Glimt. We should be putting our chest out, right? And we should be beating Bodo Glimt. We haven't even been impressive this season, right? In terms of getting in the league. You know what I mean? Sorry, my brother who's an Arsenal fan is feeling sorry for himself. He's calling me now. But anyway, moving on.
Put
You
him
know what I
on!
mean?
Let's get him on!
Good one.
But,
We'll have to have him on.
big up to my brother. Big up to Alex's brother, I mean. But the point is, though, yeah, right? Because this is turning into a bit of a rant now. But the point is, though, yeah, is that we should be beating Bodo Glimt, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, right, you know, we're higher up in the UEFA coefficient for them, right? They've got 5 players out, but so there is no excuses. We should be beating them easily, right? And even Over Glasner summed it up perfectly for me. He says, "Well, I've still got to play my full team, even though I've got to the FA Cup final, because I've still got to get this team in form. You know, everyone needs to be fighting for their place. You know what I mean? So that's the attitude of somebody,
But
right?
not
A proper manager,
yeah, but not
proper
frowning.
coach.
You can't really frown
Yeah,
them
but-
against Liverpool, though. Out of all the games, you're not going to frown them against Liverpool, because that's going to just damage. We don't beat Liverpool no matter what. Come on.
But we're 1-0 up.
Yeah, but we're wondering what with the team that he picked. So
For me,
Liverpool's not the
I
game.
mean, for me, anyway, he's all thinking about the Europa League, and for me, at the moment, that's
But
what's
he's-
keeping him the job at the
yeah,
end
but
of
he's
the day.
saving his own bacon, isn't he? At the moment, he's got to.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. And that then there's going to be some very, very interesting conversations when he wins Europa League. Very interesting conversations, which I'm going to dread, because as far as I'm concerned, I wish it was done after Frankfurt. Let's be honest here. I want it done after Frankfurt. I really wish that they beat us, and I could be going on my holidays because I was halfway out the door. Let's be
What kind of
honest here.
Spurs fan are you?
I was
Come on.
I was a
They're bringing
third
you
out
back
the
in.
door.
They're bringing you back in,
The
isn't they? Just
third
bringing you
out
back in.
the door before then. I
See-
thought it was going to be done after that, but let's be honest here, it's not going to be done after that. We're going to beat We're going to beat Bodo Glimt, and I think we're actually going to shit our way to winning this Europa League. And then let's make this what you will. Andrew's going to be the most successful manager of the last 2 decades. Let that sink in.
Before you come in, Ash, quickly, I just want,
Yeah.
because Chris is obviously
Yeah.
living in Spain and he knows Bilbao more than I'm hope you know Bilbao more than like most of us will know Bilbao, because you're a Barcelona fan, you hate Madrid.
Yeah.
So
I do. Yeah.
just throw that out there. But
Yeah.
if Spurs were to, because as Box Office said there, he thinks Spurs would obviously somehow win the Europa League. Now, it's not to say that Bilbao will make it. I'm just going in the sense of, at the moment, it's between them and Man United. If Bilbao were to make it, would Spurs have a chance, in especially what you've seen this season? No.
And I have doubts, whether we'd beat Man United if they got to the final.
For a fourth time, yeah. I have doubts.
Okay. I have doubts, but then we all had doubts. I mean, you have hope. You live in hope, right? But you all have doubt. I had doubts about Frankfurt as well, because I know that Frankfurt mullered Barcelona in Xavi's first year in the Europa, right? And that was under Glasner. Fine, they got a different manager now. They got different players now. That's fine, but they've got a huge stadium. They've got an amazing atmosphere at that ground, and no one. I mean, unless you're a betting man and you want to make a lot of money, no one put any money on Spurs to win, let alone draw. Right? It was a loss. It was a 75% loss, 70%. I don't know what it was, but no one gave Spurs a chance. We went there, we won. Now, can that happen in the final? A final, you got a motivator. I don't care what people say about Ange. I don't care. He hasn't got to where he's got from being a mediocre manager. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, and I know the stats this season don't prove it. I know the stats last season don't prove it, but he hasn't got to where he's got if he were bad, right? And there are managers in the Premier League that haven't got an ounce on what he's got because either they're new or they've been in other leagues. Right? I don't care about that criteria. He's in 30 years of management, and there's at least something that he's learned along the way to be able to do what he's done, right? So all credit to him, right? And all credit to those who've got less, and all credit to those who've got more. But you don't know the mindset of anyone in the final. I'm sitting here now saying we'll get to the final. I think we'll beat Bodo Glimt, yeah. But either against Man U or Athletic Club, I think that we're going to have a bit of a tough time. It doesn't mean we can't win it.
But Chris,
which is the same as we went to Frankfurt and thought we were going to lose as well.
So to interrupt you, Chris, but look,
sure, go, yeah.
I bet you right now, right? Because Ange, what he did, like I said, Frankfurt woke me up, yeah, because it wasn't him, it was his coaching staff, and like I said, he was up against it, right? His job was on the line, right?
Mhm.
And he knew it, right? That's why what happened, right? I bet you any money, right? I bet you any money, right? He goes back 3, right? In the final, right? Forget Bodo. We should be beating them. Yeah. If we don't get beaten, I'll get embarrassed. But being a Tottenham fan, being embarrassed is normal right now. So I don't really care. You know what I mean? I'm so done with it. I don't even care anymore. Yeah. Right. I'm going to soccer events, so that's how much I don't even care anymore. Right. And doing zoot dancing, Brazilian dance, if you want to know. That's how bored I am with Tottenham. But the point I'm making is is that final. Right. He's sitting there thinking, back 3. Keep it tight, right? We get a goal like Solanke scored against Liverpool because he can now header it. You can see that he can header a ball from a corner, right? You can see it happening. And he will do it because he'll sit there and say, "Well, I've shown you all you doubters."
I want to bring John in, man. John, do you agree with what Chris was saying about? It doesn't matter about the results, not the results, but the stats. Forget the stats. This is a manager, wherever he's gone, he's done I'm paraphrasing Chris, so sorry if I'm misquoting.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, you heard what he said basically. Do you agree with him saying that, Ange is not out of his depth basically, and he can get things back around? If he was given another season at Spurs, for example, he could turn it around in the third season.
I mean, we were talking about this before about the way PSG were so good tonight, and the fact is part of that because in the league they're in, there's certain games they can sort of coast through a bit more. Whereas in the Premier League, that's really hard to do. And sort of, I talked about Ange being at Celtic and wherever he'd been before. Celtic will have tough games, but then they'll play, I don't know, somebody like St Johnstone and could be 5-0 up at half time and can just coast it. That isn't going to happen to a team like Spurs, and the cat's now going behind my laptop. He's made a lot of weird mistakes. Look, she's literally here. What really worried me was that about 3 weeks ago, he said we underestimated the toll that the Europa League having the extra 2 games and the cup run gave. I mean, most Spurs fans I knew were worried about the depth of the squad back in August. It was the club, it was through journalists them saying, "Oh, they're really impressed by Gray and Bergvall that they'll be in the first team." Well, they were, but it took a while. And the comments he made there were just a bit odd. I find that baffling because, like I said earlier, you look at the history of English teams playing Thursday night football, Thursday, Sunday. It probably not 8, 9 times out of 10, they struggle in the league. They have problems. They lose games they shouldn't do, which is exactly what we've done this season. He has made a number of fundamental mistakes. Alex is right. There's times when I've been interested in why you think it's his coaching staff rather than just maybe the players took responsibility on the night, Alex, because
It could
people
be
keep
either
telling me the
or.
coaching staff are clueless because they're all inexperienced. Now, I don't know that.
It could be either or, John. It could.
Okay, fair enough.
It could
Okay,
be either or, but I
so
don't
it's
believe
your
it's Ange.
opinion. It's your opinion, not
Yeah.
inside knowledge or anything.
Well, no, I'm just seeing from what I've seen what is it over the season, over the last season or so.
No, but I'm not criticising. I'm just
Yeah.
asking that. Okay.
No, because I
Um,
against Man City, right, when we won 4-0, right, we were pragmatic, yeah,
yeah.
perfect, right. I said after that, that's the way we should be playing, right. Straight after that match, what do we do? Go back to Ange Ball straight away after that, right? Brentford, right, we won 2-0, right. Defensively great, did really defensively really good again, right. What do we do after that? Went back to Ange Ball again. So I was like, well, you see what's going on. We see that we play well pragmatically. It fits us better. You know what I mean? With our centre back pairing. Also with the fullbacks being actual fullbacks, not inverting. Right? Two two midfielder pivot with Bentancur, who I still think he's a Juventus reject, but it is what it is. And then you got somebody else with him, right? Then you got somebody up front, and you've got the inside forwards in Johnson and
Son.
Son. You know what I mean? And that for me is perfect for Tottenham. I mean, we should be playing 3 at the back for me and 5 in midfield, and then 2 up front. I mean that's perfect for me as far as I'm concerned. I think Johnson should be up front because he scores goals. He's not a winger. Let's be honest.
he's a second striker. You're right.
Well,
He's
that's the whole
definitely not a
point.
winger, but he can't
Exactly.
play up front by himself.
Exactly. But you carry on, Bob, because I'm taking your time. But sorry, Bob.
The cat's really going at the laptop now. That's why my camera keeps moving.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I just think he's made too many mistakes and he's taken too long to realise a lot of these mistakes. So, Chris, I do sort of get where you're coming from. I was behind Ange for a long time because I thought we've got to stick with someone. He showed a lot of positives, but it's taken, like I say, that comment, the fact that we haven't changed for a long time. Some of the pragmatic play we had over Christmas was because he had no choice. The players were knackered, and not realising that he had to change things at certain times is what is frustrating. His in-game management frustrated me at time. And I mean, last season, I think he got away with it. As much as I wanted rid of Højbjerg came off the bench and made a difference in a number of games. And we didn't replace that now. Supposedly, Ange wanted all these players that come in. Ange wanted Werner, which at the time, I think all of us were like, what are we doing? And proved to be a huge waste of money. And it goes back to Tamworth, him being played up front rather than Will Lancashire for me. I know Lancashire's not had a great time at West Brom, but surely that was a perfect time to put Will in. And we put Timo in, and he's not really been seen since. I just, for me, there's too many mistakes, taking too long to adapt. As I said in your compilation video, what was that? A month ago, where you asked the 3 questions. I said if he had 5 years, he could probably get there, but we won't put up with that as a fan base. And the way we're going, we'll probably end up getting relegated next season because it just doesn't work. The players we got in, Johnson, I don't really know what we do with him. I think Alex, you're probably saying that's probably the right thing. The closest thing he is almost to when Son played off Kane in that striker role. But I don't. He's a really good finisher. His movement's good, first time finisher. But apart from that, he doesn't offer enough. Goals are great. If he was scoring 30 goals, I wouldn't be able to question him. But he's what's he on 16, and his last 4 goals were 2 against Ipswich, 2 against Southampton, and that goes back to early Feb, I think. He hasn't scored apart from that. So, and the fact Ange just keeps sticking with them, and he stands up. He gets antsy with the fans. He gets antsy with the press. You know, this was supposed to be the guy that came in and everyone loved him, and it's going a little bit Conte-esque, isn't it? And Ash, we talked about Conte before. You said that he's come out in the press against Napoli last week, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
but now Napoli are top. So
Napoli are top.
So I felt like he was doing that on purpose. But I agree with your point in terms of like tempo setting, knowing when to slow down, knowing when to speed up. I know he gets beaten with the stick a lot of times that he plays at 100 miles per hour, but I think that might be a reason why Spurs make so many mistakes, because I think there is in the Premiership, it's really unforgiving. You've got different managers, different tacticians, tacticals, and they're watching you 24/7. They've got their videos, they're analysing your games. And I felt like once they figured it out, they had a game plan. I didn't feel like Ange had an answer for them. He didn't have, okay, let's, slow it down again. Let's kind of teach the players to kind of like, what the Zerbi was said, put the foot on the ball with the centre-backs and the goalkeeper, put the foot on the ball. And you can see, you can actually slow the game down, draw the opposition in, and then pick your passes out and play through the press in a different way. So, and I think that's gone on to the players. So it would have been good if someone like Bergvall or Archie Gray was taught that, like, instead of like dribbling, because there was one goal where he conceded, Bergvall, when he literally dribbled and then the ball was stolen off him and then we ended up conceding. Those are the things where I want him to say, look, slow it down a bit. Not always carrying the ball, not always dribbling. Maybe do a wall pass. Maybe play it back where it came from. Do you understand? So it's those little things there. I want to see outside. I want to see things taught to those players, and maybe that's where we don't make the mistakes and we don't go and we don't get punished. And that's the difference at this level. And like John was saying, if you don't learn quick, you get found out, and you get found out. Fans lose their patience, and you're seeing what's happening right now. It's not a coincidence. Had it been like you said, Marlon, 10 games, you know what I'm saying? 12 games, maybe. But bro, we're gonna be West Ham's coming up. It's gonna be the battle of the minnows, and then after that we've got Villa. So it's not looking good. And Villa, like I said at the start of the show, they're not looking to move their game. They're saying, "Nah, listen, you lot have to just do the game when we've agreed to." So we've got that situation, and I know Ange, if we're making 8 changes against Liverpool in between a cup semi-final, I'm pretty sure we're going to do the same against Aston Villa.
It'll be 11. It'll be 4-11.
In the final as well.
It'll be 4-11.
Exactly.
It's weird that the Conference League has got like a week's grace after it, and then our season's still going after the Europa League. It's just, usually we're done by now. So
I feel like we're still making up for that COVID. Like, that's weird. Like, I don't know if because the fixtures moved over that time. Remember, like we had to kind of squeeze everything in the World Cup. Yeah. I still feel like we're still playing catch up after that. And lots of the players, they complained about too many games this season. Not Tottenham. I'm talking about like players across the board. Remember, Rodri came out and he was the one who said, "Look, there's too many games going on." But anyway, I'm digressing. I just think that at this level, you have to learn fast. And you like we were saying, John, behind the scenes, PSG, when they were playing all these little short technical passes, and in a one-off game, you can kind of get away with that. Do you know what I'm saying? But there's certain Premier League teams that are going to say, look, you can have all those short passes. We're going to just do a low block. Do you know what I mean? Arsenal will come in at PSG. I know it's a different team, but I'm just using that example. Whereas PSG sometimes, you saw it against Aston Villa. Villa started to, they found a way to kind of break them down, and as these are the type of things that you have to be ready for. And yeah, unfortunately for Ange, he's come up the wrong end of it, man.
I don't feel sorry for him though, bruv. I don't feel sorry for him, bruv.
1 second, box office before you go. John has to leave. So, John, say your final part, then box office, you go.
I'll just interject there, Alex, and say, no, £5 million a year. So that means I'm not, I don't feel sorry for Ange at all, because he's going to go all the way, buy a nice big palace in Greece, and he'll be well happy. Thanks very much for having me on, guys. I'm hopeful for a nice 3 or 4-0 win on Thursday. Bodo have got loads of players out, haven't they? So I'm positive of that. We need, if we're only 2-0 up or 2 goals ahead, I'd worry about us in Norway. I'm not gonna lie, they're very, very good at home, and it'd be a tough challenge. It's been great being on, Alex. You always make me laugh, mate. I love being on.
You're an absolute gent, John. You're an absolute gent, John. Because
mate.
last time we
It's
were
great.
on, you're good.
Great to meet you, and boys, great to see you.
Yeah,
I've sent
you
you
too,
a little WhatsApp of the cat just for a bit of fun. So
yeah,
see you soon.
Big up. Big up.
Take care, John.
Take care,
Cheers,
man.
boys.
Yeah, take care.
Go on, Alex. Go on, Mr. Box Office.
No. I'm sad he's left actually, because I was actually enjoying having John in. Shouldn't get used to that though, me being nice, but anyway, but
It's it's the haircut.
No.
It's the sun.
But I don't feel sorry for him really, because he's had an easy route to the final anyway, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? But
Frankfurt weren't.
Well, yeah, only Frankfurt, but really, let's be honest here, Frankfurt. I think Frankfurt, like I said, we did well anyway. We did what we did, you know what I mean, and we got through. But this Europa League for me, it's not been. It hasn't been challenging for him. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, the Roman Galatasaray games were probably, when we all looked at it on paper, probably going to be the games that we looked at and went, they're going to be the most difficult. He struggled against Roma. Galatasaray put out the second string, which for me still baffles me to this day why he did that. But Rangers was terrible. But the first 3 games was already won, and then he won, and then the 2 that he had in January, Elfsberg, and I think the Elfsberg one was probably the one highlight because it was all the youngsters that got him out of jail that day.
Yeah.
All right. Listen. I listen to this, yeah, and Chris, you can answer this if you want. If Ange,
basically, wants you to answer, Chris.
Does
that mean I have to answer? Okay.
No, I don't have to answer it. Anyone can answer. To be fair.
Go for it.
If Ange took over like Liverpool, where's he finishing with that squad?
5th.
Top 20.
Top 20.
Top 20. Definitely. I don't know. I mean,
is he doing a similar
thing? I mean, I think the way that he plays. I mean, he's definitely got the system, this tactic on the wings, right? Where you've got this rotation. You've got 3 players rotating, and it doesn't matter who they are. They could, like your number 10 could go out to the wing, your winger could come back, and so and so. They've got like a kind of rotation thing on each flank.
I get it. Yeah.
Right. So, but the problem is after that is their own confusion in. Yeah, but who picks up who picks up from whenever I leave this space, whenever I rotate out of that, where do I go? Right. And that is confusing to the players, especially when you haven't had all the players together for so long, because you haven't got any familiarity. So
what team then? What team plays a similar style from what you can recognize that you've seen that before? Is there any team that do that rotation with 3 players interchanging in position? Or is this fairly unique to Ange?
No, I saw when we got mullered last season at Fulham, they used the wings against us very, very well. And I think that they rotated as well. But, I mean, I can't remember all of it. And it's a very particular way of playing anyway. But I don't know. It's for me, it's a compendium of bland defenders, of players that aren't up to it, in my opinion. And the manager is obviously responsible for a hell of a lot. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Ange's perfect. It's the players and it's all you fans that go against him. Definitely not. but it's not all the manager. It's definitely not all the manager. Okay, so and as I said at the beginning of the show, I've picked out these players through the goals that we've conceded, and it is bland defending. It's like Udogie. Everyone thinks Udogie is great because last year he inverted and he went up through the left channel and he was great and blah blah blah. But then when he's 1-on-1, he gets picked off so easily. Pedro Porro, the same. Dragoshin, the same. So I mean,
are you saying then if another manager comes in, we're likely to finish if we have these similar injuries in a similar position, or are you saying that? Are you saying that there's a possibility that another manager comes in and we do push up the league? I mean, yeah, we push up the table, regardless of the injuries or not. That's what I want to know.
No, I think it would be different. I think it would be different because I think one of the things that I see, for example, in Johnson, right? Johnson's having a very good season despite our bad season in general, right? But he's not a player that goes 1-on-1. He's not a Doku, right? He's not a Douay. He's not a one of these Varashkelia. He's not this. He goes well into space. And if you see like the majority of the goals that he scored for Forest, I think it was under Steve Cooper. I think it was very, very long ball.
Yeah, I get that. Sorry to interrupt you. So why do you think? Do you think it was Ange? Because a lot of people are saying Ange requested for Johnson. That was an Ange player. He picked them out, but he's playing a system where, like you said, you need wingers that can beat their man 1v1, a Doku, etc. Why do you think it was Levy that picked up Johnson, or Langer that picked up Johnson, or do you actually think it was Ange that said, "Yeah, I think it'd be perfect for my system"?
This is the thing. I can't answer that. I don't know because I don't have the information.
I know you can't answer it, but I'm saying, in your opinion,
in my opinion, I don't think that he's an Ange player.
Right. Okay.
Because do you know what I mean? Because he needs, as you correctly said, he needs players that can beat a man down the wing, get the ball in, either a grounded cross or a lofted cross, whatever. But it's always backwards, isn't it? It's always like well, I mean, not always. It sometimes goes straight across, but normally cut back into like the penalty area more or less, where the man coming in from behind,
like at the start of the first season, when he did score so many goals, he got all those assists, and everyone's like, he needs to score more goals. Wasn't he getting to that byline and not looking up? He was just whipping it across that box and doing the cutbacks and stuff.
Who's that? I didn't hear you.
Johnson, sorry. Can you hear me now? Johnson. That wasn't he?
I just didn't hear the player. I can't remember last season, to be honest. I'm getting old, man. When you get to my age, you just can't remember. But and it's not dodging the question. It really is just memory.
No.
I don't know. I mean, even Sarr with the goal he scored against Man U when we beat them, wasn't it? That he came from behind and scored, and Mickey even scored great goal from around the edge of the box or inside the box. All these things functioned last season and then went down the drain somehow. I still don't know why. But when we play well. I mean, the fundamental, right? The fundamentals aren't. They're sound. The fundamentals of what he wants to put into practice are sound. I mean, a lot of people have criticised the high line. There's nothing wrong with the high line. You just got to have that compression. You look at Flick. You look at Barcelona under Flick. The compression is perfect. Right? Whenever you compress that high line, and whenever the ball goes straight over, you know that they're going to step forward and create the offside. So the fundament of the high line, there's nothing wrong with it. The fundament of the inverted wing, right, there's nothing wrong with it because other teams play it.
But
right?
Chris, but what is looking good? Because I'm sorry, I can't accept.
No, it's not about looking good or bad. We've had a bad season all the way around. The manager's made mistakes. The players have made mistakes.
We played this season is when we've been pragmatic, and he refuses to continue doing that. Evolve the way that we play.
I understand.
And let's be honest here, right? It's been an absolute shambles in defence. It's quite clear the tactics. It's the tactics because we concede the same goals. You know what I mean? And the thing is, though, let's be honest here, yeah, right? Because we've got through those games. There's certain games that we've got through: Man United, Man City, Brentford, all these games. He didn't do it. He didn't do it then. So what is Ange ball for us to be perfect? And let's be honest here. we haven't been perfect last season either, because we failed last season. Because if we actually were defensively sound, we would have got top 4 last season. When he's kept on saying this is why he looks like an absolute idiot, and by the way, right? Because he told us after Man City, the whole game, when we were saying we don't want to win this game because Arsenal get it top 4, he said, well, that's not winning mentality. Well, look what he's done against Liverpool. You get what I'm saying?
It's true.
So this guy is such.
But it is different. But it is a different circumstance, Alex.
It's not a different circumstance. It's the same thing. He's just an absolute hypocrite. And then he said that last season. Said last season. Oh, by the way, the fans could do whatever they want. They can feel whatever we want. We've got to prove it to them. Then he starts complaining about the fans that we don't back him. We don't back the team.
Yeah,
He's
I think
an absolute hypocrite.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Listen,
it's all fun and games, bro. I'm not having a
yeah,
go.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But the fact of the matter is, if you believe a manager is going to tell you 100% of the time the truth, you got more chance in believing a car salesman, mate.
Yeah,
it really is.
He doesn't need to be conflicted, though. He can't be hypocritical and keep on flip flopping from opinion to opinion. That's the thing.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's room for everything, and I'm not defending him. I'm just saying any manager. Whenever you come off a heavy defeat or a loss or something that you believe that you've seen, because I mean, all we can do is watch it either from the stadium, right, from the ground, or from afar. Yeah. Now, unless you know exactly what he's doing and what they've planned, and like, the analysis for that game has been done a week before, right? Or depending on if you've got midweek, it's going to be 3 or 4 days before, right? That is fact. Okay. And if that goes to plan, great. If it doesn't go to plan and you've got a mic stuck in your face and you're saying, yeah, another loss, what do you expect him to say? I mean, there's even, circulating around Twitter these days, or I think it was today, a press conference after he lost at home. I think it was actually to Bodo Glimt. Oh, well, bad game. Well, we didn't do the same regurgitating message that he gives to us, right, and the press, is what he was doing at Celtic anyway. But the fact of the matter is, maybe that is just his way of, look, I'm going to say what I have to say, whether I believe it or not. I'm just going to put this out. Do you know what I mean? Because whatever happens, I can't change anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes I get that feeling because it's just the same thing. I don't know. I mean, I can't defend him. I can't go against him. But I can't speak for him. It's just something that
time on the training ground. The thing that summed it up perfectly for me, and why I stick to why this is not him when we're playing pragmatic. Yeah, right. When we had a week off because he was complaining about we've got too many games, 2 games a week. When we had like practically a pre-season for the Man United game at home, and I went to that game because I went to the protest, and I was angry when I went after going to that game, by the way, because what he did was he gone back to handball. He didn't learn what actually he learned from his games that were actually very, very good, right? When we're actually adapting to the players that we have. So he didn't evolve the team. He didn't learn anything. He just went back to handball. So he used that time just to remind people about handball again.
That's who we are, mate. But hey, I wanted to ask though. Obviously, you lot heard about the latest news in terms of what Levy's come out and said. And he's what?
No, go on, carry on. I haven't spoken about it all day, so it's quite funny.
No, but I was gonna ask, was Ange backed? Because hear me out. Because obviously, he's come out. Levy said, "Listen, we can only spend what we have, pretty much, in it. We can't spend what we don't have, in it." So,
Can I ask a quick question on that?
Go on.
On that note, everyone says how good Levy is as a businessman. Yeah. If we're now in this moment where we can only spend what we're going to, bring in, and we have no cash, is he really a good businessman as we all think he is? Because actually, we're nowhere in a situation where he said we should be. It's just one question. I'm just asking a genuine question. It's just stuff that's until I digest the news and everything like that. It was just something that came.
I feel like he's salesman. That's kind of salesman. I don't know.
And to include on that, if Scott Munn is sacked, does that mean that whole 2-year project has been a waste of time as well? So how's that good business?
I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this because I've got to stick by what I'm saying as well. Yeah. Daniel Levy,
Yeah.
right, has
Go on.
done exactly, and Dan the Hotspur Hood has said this as well. Yeah, big up to him. Yeah,
Say your thing, man.
right.
Go
He
on.
said
Big up, man.
he said we said we needed to stick with a manager.
Yeah.
That's what you
Levy,
said.
Daniel Levy. Even I said it as well. I've said it.
Yeah.
I've said it on Mr. Box Office TV as well. Right.
It's the muscle this.
Okay. Right. Levy, Daniel Levy, has stuck with Ange, like we all wanted. Right? Regardless what we think and stuff like that. And listen, I don't like this manager. I didn't even want this manager. I don't care about this.
Yeah, but Alex, you
Right.
know he's only stuck with Ange, and I'm going to sit there and be honest. He's only stuck with Ange because no one else wants the job right now.
That's bad. That's bad.
I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned, that is bad because why Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth finding managers for out of nowhere when there are loads of
Yeah, but it's more to do with the middle of the season more than anything else.
that's excuses, but Marlon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Spurs are not.
excuses.
Yeah, but Spurs
But-
are not in. Spurs are
but
not the club to go and approach a club in the middle of the season and go and get the manager they want. Whoever it was going to be had to be out of work,
Also, if it's also about a cash thing, say we ain't got no cash,
and we've got no cash.
how are we going to pay him off?
Are we going to pay him off? Well, he's to be fair.
Well, you've got the hotels to pay him off anyway, so you know what I mean. He's got the capital. We had a big boxing match on Saturday. You know what I mean. You know, that's all that revenue there.
Pay him off at the end of the season rather than halfway through, because
He'll pay him off at the end.
yeah, he has to get his otherwise it's a breach of a contract. And, you have to pay out early, whatever.
But it's what I'm saying is that at the moment
go on.
he's doing exactly what, and not most of us, because I know Sav was in the chat and I know he didn't say that, no. But I'm saying big up Sav every single time. But the point is though, yeah, right, is that and even I said it, right, is that we wanted Daniel Levy to stick with a manager, and he's doing it right now. You know what I mean?
Was he backed? Because
Yeah,
you said about the
he's
midfielders.
sacking him.
Oh,
Well-
sorry, Marlon.
He's sacking him at the end of the season. He has told them they've been in that room. That's why Ange came out of that statement against was it Frankfurt when he went through. Oh, you're gonna have to stick with me slightly longer because he knows he's a dead man walking.
Okay, if he gets sacked, if he gets sacked and wins the Europa League, you know that there's so much pressure on Daniel Levy to get the next appointment right then, isn't it?
Not really, because we said that last time, and Daniel Levy's now 2 years in, and yeah, we've had protests, but there's only 3,000. There's still like another 60 to 100,000 people that you need to join this protest. You think Daniel Levy's doing a great job?
Well, a good question to ask Chris then. Chris, are you going to be angry, right? If this manager
Why
wants
you
to go
putting it
for
on
the
me?
no, you're the Ads fan. You're the Ads fan. This is what perfect pivot. Perfect pivot. Chris,
Go on then.
sorry to do the job of Ash and Marlon here.
He couldn't answer it,
It was
Chris.
a great job, Alex.
Would you be happy? Would you be happy, right? If we sack Ange, right, win the Europa League, right, and we get a manager in who's much worse than Ange, right, which we can do, by the way, because I couldn't say that after what happened after Paratici, what after Frank Arnes, what happened after what is it, Paul Mitchell? You know what I mean? You know, so I've got the record. You know what I mean? So, how do you feel, bro? As an Ange, as somebody that supports Ange.
Don't label me with Ange, with an Angian or an Ange lover or an Ange sexual. I don't want a bloody label, okay? I defend managers because I've been on the other side of fandom, and I understand that both sides are perfectly valid with what they want to do. I understand it, right? I understand it. I wouldn't understand, right? If we win the Europa League, I wouldn't understand Levy getting rid of Ange, okay? I wouldn't understand it. Why? Because he's got a 4-year contract. Everyone was wanting Levy to stick to get a project in. We're sick of Conte and Mourinho win now managers. We want something more, spaced out in time like we had with Poch, right? Which is great. Great for the memory. We want fuck all, and sorry for swearing, but that's the reality of it. We had sexy football, which was great, and everyone was on their chairs applauding until it went down the shitter. Right. Now, if you win the Europa League, you're going to go champions, right? Which gives you more money. It gives you better incentive to get more players in. Yeah, Levy doesn't get the players, doesn't spend the money, blah, blah, blah. Wages are low. Yeah. But you still got that opportunity, right? If you haven't got Europa League, or if you don't win Europa League, you haven't got champions, you got squat. So that's a good incentive to win Europa League, right? But then get another man in, the rinse and repeat. The rinse and repeat is going to be all over X and Twitter and all the social media. Rinse and repeat. Start again. Why have you got rid of Ange? He's just won the Europa League, despite all these 2 years of
I hear what you're saying, Chris.
awful football. We still won a European Cup, right?
Lots of people are saying what you're saying as well. Lots of people agree with you. Do you know what I'm saying? If the manager wins a cup and he brings a Europa Cup, he's been our most successful manager in well over 40 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Since Keith Birkinshaw, he's done the impossible. And I've even heard that.
Even Stell said it, of all people.
Yeah. Stell said, he said...
I'll have to clip that tomorrow to let him know we gave him some praise.
Yeah. the momentum, I get it, because he's saying you can't stop that momentum, you can't stop that energy, because the fans will be buzzing, and then all of a sudden you're pulling that away from fans. Like, that doesn't make sense. The club will be buzzing. You don't stop that. So I hear what you're saying, broski, but hear what I'm saying. Like,
go for it.
How can you justify that much pain for that moment? Like, for me,
Spurs, man,
sustainable. It's really not.
Yeah, but
if
you look at the League Cup win with Ramos,
we
literally thought we were going to make the next step. And what happened next? He sold Berbatov and Keane, and we were rock bottom with 2 points.
So Romero and Bentancur. So, like, do you know what I'm saying? History will repeat itself. But I'm not saying Romero and Bentancur at that level of, obviously, Berbatov. And
what are the possibilities of? Sorry to interrupt you, but just on that, what are the possibilities of? Big up, Nigel. What are the possibilities of having another season, right, with all of the injuries that we've had, which obviously it's a huge problem, right? A lot of people discard the injuries. It's rubbish. Other teams, blah, blah, blah. Right. I've got here that we've had 22 players out the whole season, either through one reason or another. Right. 22 players out of a squad of how many, right?
Yeah.
How are you meant to get consistency? How are you meant to get anything done with all of that disruption? Right.
Yeah, but exactly. Sorry, one second. With that, and this is where this is where my problem does become with Ange.
Okay.
He had injuries last year. We were told when I get my players back.
Yeah.
He had injuries this year. Okay.
It's the muscles when their muscles get used to it.
And I get it was every 3 days. It's how you as a manager then adjust to that situation, which I think he didn't deal with it greatly. Now, say we do make Champions League next year, knowing how this club is run, he's going to have the exact same problems next year. And for me, it's going to be actually if that's going to be like 2 years now, that's going to be a third year. For me, it's just kind of cut your losses. Yes, you've won a European Cup.
Marlon, answer me this, guys. Answer me this.
Go on.
What positions do you think we need to upgrade in? Like, let's say we can only upgrade
manager.
No. Forget the manager, because we're assuming now. I'm sticking with Chris. Chris is saying keep the manager into next season.
No. I'm not saying keep him. I'm not saying keep him. I'm saying it would make more sense it makes more sense to keep him than to start all over again and blah 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 and the rinse and repeat situation that we've got at the club and we've had at the club for years. I'm not saying to keep him just because of I don't know what's best. Maybe it is better to rinse and repeat. Maybe it is because maybe the players need something refreshing. Maybe the players are better than what they're showing.
All right, forget.
Can I jump on your question there a little bit? Because the problem you've got, and I think we as a fan base need to start looking at ourselves a little bit, because we had Conte. A lot of people didn't want Conte and decided we want this attacking brand of football, but we're relying on a Daniel Levy and everyone behind the scenes to go pick a manager. We got Ange in, same problems. Nuno, same problems. So the problem we've got right now is, I'm not saying Ange is the guy, but fully well as a fan base, I don't think we even know what we want fully. It's just because we've got so many problems over here.
Sorry, go on.
Because we could be naming managers left, right and centre. And I think we're going to eventually always come up against the rock and a hard place.
Bro, it's like we went from one extreme, ultra defensive, to ultra attacking. Like, give us balance. Give us
there is no balance. When it comes to this club. And that's the biggest issue. Because a lot of us moaned. A lot of us, not me. I'm going to say a lot of people moaned, and you saw it when we were sitting in 4th place and we're complaining. Why is Conte playing this football? I know he's playing this football because he's got bloody Eric Dyer and Longley as his back for.
I tell you what it was. I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you what it was. It wasn't people were moaning them that we were fourth. It was the moment we started losing games. That's when it went sour, because it's one thing playing pragmatic and winning games. No one don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Because we can see the end roll. We're trying to get a cup. We're trying to get to top 4. We're on target. Whatnot.
Yeah.
It's when the AC Milans happened. It's when we went out the cup, which was the League Cup. Was it Sheffield United or FA Cup? We went out.
Sheffield United, but Conte wasn't there.
Back to back.
Yeah,
All
Conte wasn't there. And the AC Milan, again, and it goes back to Chris's point, AC Milan, the whole that Champions League part, Conte wasn't well. He wasn't. And I think a lot of people just didn't take that into consideration, because that season, there was a lot of things going on in Conte's life that a lot of us just went, but we have PTSD. Yeah, but we have PTSD though. That's the problem.
But I'm saying, look, take that away, right? Take that away.
You can't. In this situation, you can't, because you look what Conte's doing with Napoli, and you go. Actually,
if we had that type of Conte right now,
but we couldn't.
Who's to say he blows up the way he does? Who's to say he wouldn't still be here? Who's to say he doesn't get more out of the players? I think
Conte would get more out of this squad, personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So would I. I agree. But
as Spurs fans, we didn't see it at the time because remember, I stuck with Conte. I literally stuck with Conte. It was me and Stel.
I just know, but I'm being real. Listen, I just know the way we were playing. It was like the moment. It was robotic. It was very systemized. It was very systematic. And loads of people were like, "Oh, we need a 10. It would be nice if we had like a 10 because it was more that kind of."
Which he
said that Madison role. Do you know what I'm saying? They were yearning for that. I don't know if you can remember, but it was the same, like 1-0 win, 2-1s. Certain times it was 3-2, like it'd be a bit more exciting. But a lot of the time we would play like your Burnleys or teams that you expect us to like walk over, but we're playing like low block, meaning that our goal was getting peppered by a team that we should be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We should be rolling these teams. We're Tottenham. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's our entitlement. But again, is that your entitlement? Because
it's our entitlement.
Why should it be our entitlement? Because at the time,
be 16th then.
Because before Conte, there was
should be 16th.
Before Conte, that period, we were nowhere near making Champions League football, and everyone forgets that part.
I'm just saying. I just remember how it was.
But you remember the bad parts.
No.
I
remember Norwich. I remember when we peppered Norwich. I remember when we peppered Newcastle, Everton, back to back. Boom. I liked it. I remember explaining this is what Conte ball is, and people weren't understanding it and getting it. I'm saying, no.
But to be fair, I think Sava made a good point, and this is the bit where I go. This is probably the bit where it all fell apart. Once he didn't want to be here, but you got to remember, he lost Vialli, he lost his coach. He then went through his operation.
That's why I come back to that point.
And he missed his kids.
Napoli. I come back to that point of Napoli. If we had the fit Conte, do you know what I'm saying? Without everything falling apart.
The season before Conte.
Do you know what I'm saying? Conte, it might have been a different Conte. We might have still had him. Do you know what I'm saying? So
but nobody. Some people were not even happy with Conte the season before because they didn't like the way he played, and unfortunately,
that's silly because we got champions. The way we beat Arsenal to that top 4, that was amazing. The whole club was like singing. I remember that time. Everyone was loving it. Like who didn't want Conte then was foolish. Like I don't know. Like I can't talk for them, innit?
One night only, innit?
But look, after that window,
somebody's just calling after Poch there, weren't he still? I want Poch.
I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. Right.
No, I'm joking. I didn't like it. Go, Karen. Sorry.
No, I'm saying if you weren't happy with the football and we got top 4, like you're not happy with it, innit? Some fans didn't want to play. I understood the Conte ball. I got it, and I didn't mind it, innit? I didn't mind the sucker punch, the quick counter attack, and it helped. It suited Son. You know what I'm saying? Kane was dropping in, the ball over, like it looked beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? And Kulusevski came out of nowhere. Everyone was gassy. Everyone was like, oh, he's better than Saka. Remember them days? Remember? Embarrassed. Are you not ashamed? Huh? Are you not embarrassed?
We were shameless.
Yeah, we were shameless. We was. But like,
good times, man.
It was. We had some pride. You could hit your chest out. Do you understand? But like, I just come back to it and I'm like, it was a matter of time when he called out the club. Like he called out the club, and rightly so, innit? But it almost felt like
You say, but you know what's really strange about that moment? He called out the club, but he said in that statement, and this is where I don't get why fans didn't accept it. He was calling out the club and actually was on our side and saying we need to do better for the fans.
Yeah.
Of course, he said
And
that.
everyone forgets, and this is the bit where I'm kind of like, when everyone goes, I can't take put through the club under the bus. He was protecting us,
Of course.
which Ange at the moment is not doing.
He even said it's the players. The players get paid money.
We have a job to do. We've got a job to do. He actually has a good relationship with us compared to what Ange is doing, and Ange is throwing us underneath the bus. Doesn't understand it. Doesn't get this, and there's
the point I kind of missed off as well, because I was saying that box office has Ange been backed, because I feel like what Ange is doing, like people hate this thing when we say, right, Ange is a yes man and he's doing all the like, he's basically trying to protect, the owners. He's trying to protect the club. He's trying to change the culture by not having that blame culture, whatever, rightly or wrongly. Now looking at it, was he ever going to get the midfielders that he wanted to implement the style he wanted? Because I think the plan all along was to cut the wage bill and just to let Bergvall and Archie Gray be like star boys. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was ever going to get players to replace your Højbjergs and your Skip to move forward and suit the system that that he wanted to play. So, like, do you think he actually got backed in that sense?
I think Ange did get back. By the way, I love that back and forth between you and Marlon. By the way, if I have to be devil's advocate and stir up a back and forth like that, I'm going to do that all day, every single day. But anyway, big up to you. But I'm giving you praise, both of you, by the way. So take it for what you will, and enjoy that. And
that's twice he's been nice today.
I'm worried. Have we got Mr. Post Office, not the box office today? What's going on?
It's Mr. Box Office too. But anyway, moving on.
There we go.
The point I'm making is that no, he's been backed. He's been backed because he backed the process. He said I'm happy with my squad, right?
Yeah, that's the whole point I'm saying though. Is he like?
Yeah,
like John was saying it. Like, was it John or was it you, Chris? You're saying like, if you're gonna believe what he's come out and said.
Yeah, I said that, but then that's the whole thing. What's he going to do? What's he going to come out and say? Yeah, I asked for Rodri, but I got Archie Gray. Do you know what I mean?
The biggest
drop. How? Do you know what I mean? It's just an example. But what's he meant to say?
But then he moans about injuries, though. Then he moans about injuries, though, right? Then he moans about
injuries.
And then I'm sorry, but this is where he loses it for me. He kept on moaning about injuries and all that, and he knew full well that he's in Europa League. And really, let's be honest here, yeah. He played the second team. He's played like the youngsters in the Europa League, right? So, like, I'm sorry, like, no one should be complaining about too many games when he knew exactly what the season was going to be like this season. You know what I mean?
No,
he was backed. Just to answer your question, Matt, he was backed. He was backed. You know what I mean? Because like, if he was that unhappy about the squad, right, knowing full well that he says, I need to win. I always win in my second season, right, which he could do. To be fair to him, right? He's got to push for his players. But I mean, yeah, fair enough. The club have been, doing the cutbacks, the wage cutbacks and stuff to lower the wage bill. Fair enough, right? But he hasn't. He's always backed the club. There's ways and means to be more diplomatic. You know what I mean? There's ways and means not backing it so much that, like,
You would say he's not press savvy. Then would you say he's not?
Well, he's obviously not press savvy because look how bad he has been with the press recently, especially when we lose.
I don't think Australians like the English press full stop, because if you ever, like, when you do other sports, they do, like, cricket's always my go to, and they always go back and forth with they hate the English press. And I think that's kind of the scenario what's happened here with Ange, that the English press have kind of got underneath his skin, and they will. Yeah. They will get underneath your skin, and he just starts saying anything. And that's why I think a lot of us don't pay attention to his press conferences anymore, because they're riddles. It's a bit like when Poch left just before the Champions League, where he kind of was saying riddles and whatnot, and his mind had gone. And I think Ange's gone. his mind's gone. I think he knows he's going, and I just think at the present moment he's done.
But it's a strong squad though. There's excuses here. People keep on saying, "Oh, we ain't got a strong squad. Are we better than? Have we got a better squad
We've
than
got a
Fulham?"
squad for a different manager. I think
Well,
that's
yeah, well,
we
yeah,
haven't got a squad for
but
Ange.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Marlon. Yeah, he knew exactly what he was getting himself into. Even he said this himself,
Yeah, of
right?
course he has to because you knew what you're
Um,
going to get yourself into
so
with Spurs.
you can't
It's a
can't
Spurs
be
thing.
saying this. I'm not having this when he's got a squad that is better than Bournemouth. Look where Bournemouth are. Better than Fulham. Look where Fulham are. Better than Nottingham Forest for our reject manager Nuno Espirito Santo. Right?
Yeah, but Alex, I'm going to throw this out to you. When you look at those clubs that you've said, they've all got players to suit the manager's system. And when you look at someone like who did you mention? Not Fulham, not Areola. Who's the other one? Nottingham Forest. Yeah, Nottingham Forest have got a team that want to play defensive football and play on the counter attack.
Yeah.
He's got the players there. If you go and give him Nuno Manchester City, he's not going to pull down the same results, is he? Just
no, but
in contrast, so you have, and I think this is where we're at the moment. And at the moment, is not suited.
Yeah, but then you got to adapt to the players that you've got. Then
situation, and that's the bit where this is
where he's gone wrong. Because let's be honest here, if he adapted, we would have been Champions League this season. If we adapted, we wouldn't be 16th in the league.
Isn't that on the club though? Because the club went out and they purposely got an attacking manager. You know, was it direction?
I think this
goes back to what goes. Oh, go on, Marlon.
I think for me, the whole getting back to what Ash is saying is let's go back to January. The first thing they thought, what was the most important, pressing thing to do, was to go buy a goalkeeper, and then didn't spend another penny. Well, they tried to get Mwani in, but he said no. They chased one striker, and then they literally had to go out and get a defender because Dragusin got injured, and Tell was only because no one else wanted him, and we still had money from Bayern Munich. For me, that just shows you where they are with Ange at the moment. They were never going to back him to where he needed to be to get this squad going. Who thinks you had the whole of this? Look, the injury started in November, and the first thing you think to go and buy is a goalkeeper.
So then it asks the question. Then when I go back to what I said, right? Now you've led me into saying, why do we not sack him in December then, if we don't believe in him? Why do we not sack him in January if we don't believe in him?
It was January for me. It was Tamworth. Once they knew they weren't going to back him, they should have got rid of him.
So there's the mistake. There's the mistake.
Then that's
Levy not being Levy, not doing it again. Say that on my video, my recent video recently. Actually, my video that's uploaded now.
Check it out.
New video, yeah.
But
on Mr. Box Office TV.
All right. So are you saying, Alex? Yeah, Chris, that this starting 11? Are you happy with the starting 11? Do you think the starting 11 is good enough?
Results show not. Results show not. What have I done? If you look at the strongest starting 11, right? They've played together 11 times. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drawn 2, lost the rest in the strongest starting 11.
So you're saying starting 11 is good enough?
Well, results show not. I like to contextualize, but the results show that they're not good enough of all the games that they played together.
Box office is the starting 11 in your eyes?
Sorry, hang on a minute. Sorry, let me go back to that because I get these wrong. That is 11 games with Vicario and the best with Bodo, Romero, Van der Ven, and Udogi, right? Okay, that is 11. Now, if you, as I said before, is where I get mixed up. The team has only played once. The strongest 11 has only played together once, and they drew at home to Frankfurt. So, can we be happy? Well, I mean, we didn't lose, so you got to extract gold where you can, but it's not good enough, is it? So, I mean, I'd like to see different players. For example, we definitely need midfielders, but we've been saying that for 2 years. I mean, not one of our players that is of any, I don't know, with any experience, for example, regardless of age, is a defensive midfielder. Sarr is not a defensive midfielder. Bissouma is not a defensive midfielder, and Betancourt is not a defensive midfielder one bit. So, and then you've got the attacking midfield, which would be Maddison, whatever. Bergvall, youngster, can't really take into consideration. But from what we had to what we've got, we haven't got any defensive midfielders. So, and Gray, okay, he's 18, he's 17, 18, whatever he was. You can't really put Spurs on his back to be leading the midfield. I guess at the beginning they could have seen him as technically apt, tactically apt. His whole personal, all of this could be ticking every single box. But when you get on a training field, he might not be what they need, right? Yet.
So basically, you're saying that three in the middle not good enough, right? You're saying the forward line not good enough either. I'm gonna run with that, yeah. I'm gonna just because you're saying Johnson's not a touchline winger, and I'm gonna assume you're not. I'm gonna assume you're saying Son's not a touchline winger either. I don't know your thoughts on Solanke, but I'll come back to that.
Before you carry on, I've got to drop because I've got to be up really early for work. But you guys carry on, finish off the show. But Chris, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you.
I'm going to say my thank yous now. Alex, love for you as always. Me and you just go back and forth jokes. Ash, keep it real. And also got a super chat from the big man Sava as well to read out. But look, I think I'm on last word on Spurs for the next 2 weeks, and then I'll be back next week with you, and hopefully we can get Sava on next week. Tell him now we want him next week.
It's still on at some point as well. But yeah. Listen, big up. Make sure you like, you share, subscribe.
Yeah, big up everybody. Big up to everyone in the chat. You've been brilliant again tonight, as per usual. But yeah, subscribe, comment, and all that stuff. Ash, do what you do, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm So what? Box office. Talk to me.
For me,
midfield.
For me, that's a good team that should be better than what we're doing at the moment.
Are you happy with the midfield? Because season,
I'm not happy with the midfield. No, I'm not happy with the midfield.
Say to you. You said all season the midfield is bang.
No, it's bang average. No, I don't want it.
Bang,
but it's better than what it should be better than if it's played to its strengths. Betancourt at Juventus, from what I've heard, right, was played in a double pivot, wasn't he? Right. Okay. And for me, Sarr is a box-to-box midfielder. Bissouma is a box-to-box midfielder, which he was doing at Brighton. But basically, no, I think we haven't got a defensive midfielder. That's why I want Højbjerg back in my midfield, which is the most embarrassing statement I've said this season, well, for quite a while now. So, which I've said for quite a while now, since he left, which is so embarrassing.
I'm the only one saying that, but I just think he's just not press resistant. He can't get on a half turn. If you play a ball into his feet, and he's got a turn, he's in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
But the reason why I'm saying it is we didn't improve on Højbjerg. That's the thing. To get somebody to challenge that midfield, to be a defensive midfielder. Now we're looking at Bergvall as the best thing since sliced bread, which I'm sorry, he ain't. He just ain't. I've seen somebody comment saying, we can't take him seriously because you don't rate Bergvall. That sums up your opinion then, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because for me, at the end of the day, why are you getting so emotional about a player that, let's be honest here, has been good, okay. You know what I mean? So, but to answer the question, no, I don't like the midfield. But this team, with the players that we have got, should be doing better with what we're doing in the league at the moment.
But another point I was making, do you like the front three?
No, I don't. Like the front three.
So, all right, let me read out Football Heritage TV. Big up for the super chat. Super chat. So, lads, sorry, but football isn't about 11.
Agreed.
Before this season started, not one of us would swap our squad with Fulham, Forest, Brentford, Palace, and Bournemouth. Ange is truly atrocious. Just say it. Now, me, the reason why we're here, the reason why I'm having the show is to have a small caveat. Otherwise, it would be boring if everyone was just agreeing and it was just the same point. So we're all singing from the same song hymn sheet. So what I'm saying is a lot of the fans, like yourselves, are saying that the first 11 isn't good enough. And I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the summer, people were saying They don't want backups. The best way to improve the squad is to improve the starting 11. The starting 11, the way we finished the season, wasn't good enough. We were 5th and we basically bottled top 4 because that was in our hands, in my opinion. And those last 8 to 10 games, we threw it down the drain. So we all knew come the summer, there needs to be upgrades in the midfield so you could push the likes of these bang average midfielders, like you were saying, Mr. Box Office, your Bentancurs, your Bissoumas, XYZ. Now, I agree. Look, I'm not saying that 16th is, A-OK. I'm not saying that, no way. Because it's not right. You understand?
No, it's not.
We need that. For me, I said minimum 10th. You know what I'm saying? All them episodes ago when I said it, and I think it was back in like October or whatever it was. Like, we need to be finishing. We need to be finishing. This squad should be a top 6 squad. It should be. But we finished 5th, and I felt, right, if we're going to kick on from 5th, we need to improve on what we have already. So like your son was aging, we knew it. We didn't think he'd fall off this bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Then you've got Johnson. No one was happy with Johnson. And even though Johnson has improved on his goal tally, we still knew in this system that Johnson couldn't thrive and he's not a 1v1 winger and he wouldn't work. Solanke, I personally was expecting a minimum of 15 goals. That was me. That was my own expectation, rightly or wrongly. People will say that Solanke is used differently in the system, and that's why he's not getting as many goals because he's got to do a lot from outside the box, and then he's got to do it inside the box. Richarlison, in my opinion, isn't as good or as technical as Solanke. That's why you're seeing Richarlison maybe pull up more numbers because he's just a better, player in the box. That he can't do what Solanke does, so that's what you're seeing. I just think, me personally, it was a shambles of a window, but it doesn't excuse Ange at all. Both things could be true. Both things could be right if I'm going to end the debate. Do you know what I'm saying? If I'm going to be honest with myself, I'm being real. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it is for me. But just to finish up, guys, because I still wanted to know what positions you guys thought needed to be upgraded going into the summer, irrespective of what's come out today. Because they said that, we're going to have to be clever, and we can't spend what we don't have and all this malarkey. We're gonna have to sell like likes of Romero, which we were gonna do anyway because he's not happy. We're gonna have to sell Richarlison. Richarlison was injured, so we knew he was gonna go out the door as well, and the likes of possibly Basuma. So between the 3 of those players, I reckon between 70 to 100 million. Is that fair? Do you know what I'm saying? If we get like 100 million plus, I don't know, we managed to find money from somewhere else, like maybe 30, 40 million on top. So we've got 130 or 140 million to spend. What 3 positions would you lot look to improve on in the summer window? And that goes up to the chat as well. What 3 positions?
Midfielder, striker, or winger.
Okay,
So
3. That's your 3. Midfielder, striker, winger. 3. I said 3.
I was trying to say striker, stroke winger. Striker, stroke winger.
Which one?
Forward.
Come on,
Forward.
you can't do that. It's either you want a midfielder.
Forward. That gets me out of trouble. Yeah, forward.
Wait. So what? Your forward, is that a left forward? Is that a right?
Doesn't
forward?
matter.
Central forward.
It's someone in the final third.
Yeah. Forward.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Okay.
It's not meant to be an easy question, bro. So
forward then, just forward. Yeah,
striker.
Forward. Yeah,
striker.
Striker. Yeah,
Striker. Yeah, because you don't think Solanke's good enough. Is that what? Is that what it is?
He needs to be pressured, and then and we have got Mikey Moore, and then
yeah, go on.
I'm torn between a centre back and a left back.
Wait. So you said striker. No, you said striker, midfielder, winger. Where's the centre back come from? 3 positions.
No. I'm torn between because I've got my midfielder, which will be a number 6.
All right.
Defensive midfielder.
You want a DM?
And then I've got a striker, right? And I'm torn between whether it's a left back or a centre back. I think I'm gonna have to say probably another midfielder there because I think we've got enough centre backs at the moment. I don't see any centre backs going, but yeah,
You would take
probably
2 midfielders and a striker.
yeah. Two
But
midfielders.
there's nothing wrong with the answer. I just wanted to know. And
Yeah.
when you say defensive midfielder and a striker, who's the second midfielder? Is that a number 10 or is that a number 8 or centre mid? Sorry, what are we saying?
Maybe another creative midfielder.
Are you want another creative midfielder?
Yeah,
Because you're not happy with Kulusevski. You don't think Kulusevski is good enough.
I think Kulusevski might leave. If I'm really honest with you,
Would you sell him? Would you sell Kulusevski then?
I would sell him. I'm not that fussed about him, to be honest with you.
How much would you sell him for?
What's the going rate for a midfielder like that? 50, 70, 60, 50?
You're happy, so you'd be happy for him to go for 50 million, Kulusevski?
I wouldn't be happy, no, but I'm trying to be realistic here. What somebody willing to pay for him? Probably about if you get upwards of over 60.
60.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I don't know if that would be possible.
Well, there's no right or wrong, bro. I ain't trying to catch you out. I just want to know your
No. It's a good question, to be honest with you. You've got me thinking. So yeah, that's it. Really.
Yeah, that could be your next video, isn't it? But anyway, in the summer. But yeah, all right, cool. So box office said a striker, and he said a DM, and then he wants a number 10 and an attacking mid to rival maybe Madison. Is that my thinking? And so to replace Kulusevski because Kulusevski doesn't want to be here. All right, cool. What is yours, Chris? What do you think we need to get out of this rut? First of all,
we need a hell of a lot more than 3.
I know that, but look, according to what was said by Daniel Levy, we can only buy what we have, and that might not even be free. Maybe free is being generous. Who knows? But yeah, 3 players, 3 positions. Sorry, what are you going for?
Does that include swapping, like, I don't know, McTominay for Kulusevski, just as an example? Does that include it?
3 positions. I just want to know the positions, and then you can give me.
Okay.
It's not meant to be easy, bro. There has to be
definitely a defensive midfielder. Definitely.
Yeah.
Who can read a game. Definitely.
Read the game. Okay, so all right, cool.
We definitely need.
Wait, just to stay on that, because when you say read the game, a lot of people want a destroyer type. You want someone that can get on the ball and bridge the wall between defense and attack. Is that what you want in your?
You don't have to be a destroyer. You just have to be positionally adept.
Positionally inept. Okay, cool. Yeah,
positionally adept. You look at Paris Saint-Germain today. Who do they have as a destroyer? I mean, Jean Neves. Yeah, he's not a destroyer, is he? But he's positionally apt.
Yeah, he is.
Right, Vitinha as well, and Fabian Ruiz is not exactly a destroyer. He's an 8. He's not a destroyer.
Yeah.
So you don't need Japainha, right? You don't need ankle breaking defensive midfielders. You need people that can read the game.
Well, the reason why I say it because a lot of people want that. They want a João.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or they want a João Gomez because they're more like your ankle biters, so to speak.
Yeah, that's fine. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely a defensive midfielder that can definitely read the game. That can that can command their midfield to say, hey, you've got a free man over there. Why the hell aren't you why aren't you picking him up? Right? Because as I said before, all of these defensive mistakes are stupid. They're silly mistakes they shouldn't be making. So you need people that can command, not just Ange berating, right? But you need people on the pitch that can command as well, right? Yeah. So in my opinion, defensive midfielder. I'm hard pressed between a left back and a right back because I don't think they're good enough. They're too bland. But left winger or left forward, midfielder, and I think another midfielder as well.
Left winger and 2 midfielders.
And the reason is because if you can sort your midfield out, right, which is the nexus between your front line and your back line, you're sorted, right? In more of a better of an extent than what you are without them. So, in my opinion, you need to parapet the midfield.
So what do you make of then people's thoughts on like Bergvall, being like because you're saying 2 midfielders, who drops out? Is it for you? Bergvall is with the 2 new midfielders. Is it Kulusevski that's with the two new midfielders? Is it Maddison? That's with the two, like, who are the two new midfielders with?
I'd actually give Bergvall free reign, to be honest. I mean, I know it won't happen because Ange's very strict in his tactics. I understand that he's inflexible in that sense. But if you had the two midfielders that Alex and I both said, stick Bergvall in there because he's confident. He's going to get confident. He's going to have a confidence boost over this season. Didn't expect to play anything. He's playing a hell of a lot. Right, he's technically pretty nifty. He likes to get about the pitch, so you've got a great midfielder there, right? Whether you're going to put all the weight on the whole season on him, we'll just have to see. But he is something different. He's something different than what we have, right? And so I'd get the two midfielders and Bergvall, for example, to play because I don't really like Maddison. I don't think that he's up to being a 10, in my opinion. I just don't see it.
Fair enough. And sorry, and you said left winger, is it? Left winger, are you saying?
I think left wing or left forward doesn't matter, but they can play either wing. But left because Johnson, you're going to stick with Johnson, I suppose, right? And what he's done this season, and to a certain extent last season, he has improved. Whether we know that he's not a 1v1 take on merchant. We know that
he's improved on though. What's he improved on?
Well, stats haven't his stats improved? Hasn't his inbox? Well, let's just call it inbox game. Hasn't that improved? Hasn't he been getting forward better? I mean, that's what we've got. The typical goal that for him to score would be the goal against Coventry. I think when he was put through, Betancourt put him through. He's brilliant in space. So and he's not a bad finisher. We've seen that already. I mean, he's not bloody Ronaldo Nazario, but he's decent enough.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, he's young. He's young enough to be my son. So I mean, come on, catch the guy a break. But he's not a 1v1, winger, is he? Like take on merchant. So you've got to deal with that, I suppose. But then I don't know. So left wing or left forward, and then two midfielders.
Would you sell Maddison then? Because you're saying you would sell him.
Oh yeah.
He's been our highest.
I know. Yeah.
According to stats, because you said Johnson, because I picking you up on Johnson. You said Johnson's improved. Yeah. Madison also has improved, and he's got the most goals and assists, I think, combined.
Yeah.
In our team.
To cut him a bit of a break, right? If you're a good player, but you've got no one to serve to, right? It's difficult, obviously, isn't it? So the same criticism he gave our post-match interview at Newcastle last year when we got bad, right? He said it's difficult and we lack courage to make that last pass, right? Whether that was on him or whether it was on the players that he had in front of him that weren't creating those opportunities, or whether it was tactical, strictness, I don't know. But there was something going on there, right? That made him look worse than what he is. It doesn't mean I like him or don't like him. That's by the by. But I just don't like him as a player. I think he's too nonchalant. He's too uppy and downy. He's too uppy and downy. Lack of consistency. I just don't like him visually. That's all it is. Nothing personal.
Okay, cool. All right, so guys, I want to throw a suggestion out, and you've got an option, right, for a number 6, a DM, and you've got also an option for a left winger. Yeah, because you both said about winger, striker, forward, inside, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Would you take? Let's do the striker one first. Let's do the winger one first. Would you take Tell or Rashford? Don't worry about the wages. Forget the wages. Put the wages aside.
That's easy. That's easy.
We're not paying for it. It doesn't matter.
That's easy. Rashford. I'll take Rashford all day long.
Easy.
Rashford as well.
Yeah. Because he was down in the dumps, wasn't he? He was down in the dumps. He was an ex-footballer, and he's come back alive at Villa, and he's not doing a bad job, to be honest.
With a different coach as well. With a different coach, because obviously, I mean, whatever I'm saying tonight, I mean, I'm not happy. I'm not saying what I've said on my channel. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is at the moment. This guy's winning the Europa League. Yeah, for me, a different coach, like we've seen with Emery. you can get better out of him. I don't really know what Tell's all about for me. I don't think he's the right sort of player we should have at the moment. I think for me, at the moment.
Dodgy, up in the
I
air.
mean, but I'm not critical because I think he's been put in this situation, and we just managed this transfer window really badly. But that's just natural for Tottenham now these days. But yeah, I think I'll take a Rashford.
Would you take him because you've seen a lot more from him, and obviously, because basically, I know you guys.
We need somebody with experience at the moment.
I hear it. Because no, I hear it. But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of fans have bigged up Bergvall, right? And Bergvall is the same age as Tell. Do you know what I'm saying? Tell's just literally come in, and I think for some fans, it's like, and I'm just throwing this out as a host. I'm not saying this is my opinion, but I'm just throwing it out there. If Tell was given the same amount of time, like if Rashford was 19, would we have the same patience for him? Do you know what I mean? Because it's a bit of unfair comparison. Rashford's had about 10 seasons, if I'm being totally real, 10 seasons. And we saw a whole season of Rashford when he came through compared to what we're seeing with Tell, which is half a season in a team that's struggling, which is, I think we're 16th, right? Compared to, I think when Rashford came through, was it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, didn't he get like second or something? I can't remember where he finished.
Yeah, he did get second. Yeah, one season.
I'm sure the squad was a lot more, was a bit more thriving than it is what we have at Tottenham. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Do you think there's a chance or a world where Tell does, become a little bit better and improves, or do you think, he's not going to make it?
I think he'll be better with a bit different coach. Yeah, possibly that be the case. But it's interesting that the manager of Bayern Munich company is just discarded him. You know what I mean? Just said, well, I don't.
He's also discarded a player that people really like, who's called João Paulinho, and he's a defensive midfielder.
João Paulinho?
Yeah.
That was from Fulham.
He doesn't want him.
You're joking.
He doesn't want him. And I reckon the reason why is in that system, João Paulinho in the lone six, I don't think he can do it. I'm not too sure. In a double pivot, where he played in Sporting and also at Fulham, where he was in a double pivot, I think he worked in that role well. But in Bayern Munich, when he's asked to be the single pivot, and also I think he came on, the appearances he's come on, he's picked up a red card straight away in his first game. Then he got injured. He came back from his injury, got a yellow card. And for whatever reason, it's just not worked out for him. So João Paulinho, for those who are still watching, he's on the market. Also, Wilfred Ndidi is also available at 9 million because Leicester got relegated, and it was in his contract that because he signed a new renewal, but in his contract it said if he got relegated, he'd be allowed to leave for 9 million. So another DM. He doesn't go to ground much. He's one of those players that what you were saying, Chris. He kind of assesses the where the ball's going to land or where his opponent's going to be, and he shifts his body over and he nicks the ball off. He uses his long limbs to win the ball back. There's two players there that could be up for grabs for not big money. And also, we do well business with Bayern Munich. Could we knock off the money? If we didn't want to take Tell, would you guys take a João Paulinho?
Well, didn't make sense really for me because he had such a great season at Fulham. But would that be? I don't know. I mean, the Ndidi one for me, I think he's fell off a lot the last couple of seasons. I think anyway for me. I think there are players out there that we could get that could be useful. But I wouldn't say.
All right, cool. So basically, João Paulinho is 29 years old, right? Does his age profile concern you a lot, or you think 29 is the right age for us to go and buy?
And I think we have to give out the wages, isn't it, as well?
Would he be demanding a lot of wages at 29 years old, or would he be able to?
How much is he getting? Because that would be a problem for Tottenham, wouldn't it?
I know Wilfred wouldn't be a problem. I know that for a fact. He wouldn't be on big wages, so we could definitely get Wilfred if people wanted him.
The problem is with Indeed. Would he be able to cope with the tactics of Ange?
Who Ndidi or
Both.
This is the thing. I don't know. It's that's the situation. We've got Cardoso is a similar profile to I think to like a João Palhinha. Do you gamble?
I think it'll be. I think it's if you've got Bentancur and Paulinho, I think that might be a good pivot to me in that sense.
If he was to play a double pivot, I'd
Yeah,
make us a lot more solid in that situation, in that position. But I think with the idea behind Ange, he doesn't really want midfielders to have
he wants everybody to be able to do everything, isn't it?
yeah, he
That's
wants
the
everyone to do everything, and so that
but
there's technical flaws to João Paulinho, as there is a technical flaw to Bentancur. That's why Conte put him in a double pivot for that reason, because he
yeah,
knew
and it works
he doesn't scan like a 6, like Bentancur doesn't like the peripheral vision where he's able to see what's behind him, what's coming in, to know when to kind of like make that short pass. How many times have you seen Bentancur switch to play or do balls over the top or spray a long pass? You haven't really seen that with.
Well, that's why Højbjerg and Bentancur really worked well under his first season Conte. They worked really well. They worked really well together, didn't they?
Of course,
because they complemented each other. So
course.
for me, it does. It's not a bad thing for me. I think that's an opportunity for me.
Ndidi's 28, by the way. Ndidi would be 28.
I mean,
You've got experience, yeah.
it depends on how you've got to, the thing is, we go back to what we're saying right now, Ash, is that for me, he needs to adapt with these players that we've got. I mean, I think when you play these in the right positions, you've got a good team. You have a good team. I mean, you just need to see what Glasner's doing at Crystal Palace. Play everybody in their right position, adapting what they're good at. You've got a very good team. You know what I mean? So for me, it's I don't think it's so complicated for me, really. For me, and with that, you get players being really confident as well. You know what I mean? So because you can play a system, but like I said, you need to win football matches, though. You need to win
So
football matches.
they're saying here that Paulinho was on 4.16 million. He signed a 5-year contract. That was at Fulham. I don't know if it went up in 2024 when he signed to Bayern Munich.
How much is that? How much is that a week? How does that? How does that work out?
You have to
4 divided by 52.
Yeah, divide it by 52 and you'll get your answer. I don't know if you got a calculator there.
Less than 100 million, 100,000 a week. Is that less?
Less than 100 grand.
Is that something like that?
But it says here, look, sorry, I've got it here. Sorry, it's which is that? No, this isn't Bayern Munich. Still looking for Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, 40 million. I can't.
80,000 a week.
Is it 80,000 a week? Yeah,
more or less. Is that correct?
Yeah.
79. It comes out at 78.8, but yeah.
For me, we need experience in that midfield, and I think Paulinho would be okay in that midfield. For me, we need experience in midfield. Period. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're gonna carry on with Bergvall, they need to learn about competition. Archie Gray. You know what I mean? Like the midfielders that that are on loan at the moment, Leighton Orient. And for me, I would keep Maddison because he is our most creative player. I think just play him more on the left, I think, of the forward line, or play him in the number 10, not getting him coming back. Because that's when he's been dangerous. And actually, when he plays well, we play very well. And we get good victories as well sometimes. So, yeah, for me, Paliona shouldn't be a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for me, really. But I go back to what I say. If he plays these tactics, I think you're gonna ruin him. You're gonna ruin him. That's the thing. I think you've got to play at these players' strengths. You know what I mean? I do think that's a good pivot. Paulinho and Bentancur. Whatever I say about, regardless of what I say about Bentancur, right? he could pivot very well with a certain player like similar player to Højbjerg, and I think Pauline is kind of obviously a little bit more better than Højbjerg.
160 a week.
So yeah, just a harmless potato is saying he's on 160,000 a week.
Well,
So
that's
that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, then, isn't it?
That's Timo Werner wages. To be fair, though, they paid it for Timo Werner.
Well, true, good, and he's leaving at the end of the season, isn't he? So we could use that for Paulinia's wages, isn't it?
Would you be happy with that, Chris? If João Paulino paid 160k wages, would you see any flaws in the system if he was to come in?
As man, there's so many nuances you could take into consideration to see whether he's good or bad. I mean, it depends. But I mean, he's a decent enough player. I mean, you know, he did it at Sporting, did it, you know, played for Portugal. For the national side, I think, you know, he hasn't done badly. From what I recall, Fulham, he was great. You know, very, very interesting. And a lot of people last season were asking, well, you know, we're wanting him this season. You know, Paulino would be great. It'd be great. But yeah, probably. He's not a bad player. Why not? You know. But then I'm not a big fan of Bentancur, to be honest. I know a lot of people are, but I just
the same with box office. Then you're in the same boat as box office.
He's I just there's something about him that looks very kind of. Yeah, I'll play 90 minutes, but I'll really only play 37. You know, kind of like what Anne said about Bissouma. Like he comes in out. Maybe Bissouma's having a much worse season because of whatever. But Bentancur seems to sometimes be either mentally drained or physically drained. You know, and that's just an appreciation that I've seen. That sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, and it's very up and down. A lack of consistency. But that's, you know, I don't know. That's what I see. I just, there's something about him that I'm not convinced about. But he has, I don't know. But Payen, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad. I haven't seen a lot of Ndidi, to be honest. I haven't. But if you've brought him up, obviously because of the money and because of he's free, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally because of the situation. You know, the chairman's literally come out and said you can only buy what we sell. And if we
I understand that.
And we sell.
By the way, that would be bullshit. That would be absolute BS when we win Europa League. Trust me, he's only doing that. He's only doing that, right? So I know exactly what this chairman's going to be like.
Go on. Why is
he's only doing this, because when we have our summer transfer window and we start picking out players, you know, that are, you know,
maybe going on the cheap
and they're good, right? End up being a good transfer window. You say, "Oh, Daniel Levy's done a blinder. He's done an absolute blinder." So he's only doing that just to keep the expectations low. You know what I mean? You know exactly what he's trying to do.
That is true, Alex. But you know, the fact of the matter is, if any chairman or sporting director or whatever came out and said, or president came out and said, "Look, we've got 400 million to spend this year," do you know what I mean? That would be like putting you with buying whoever you want. Do you know what I mean? So he's obviously got to protect a bit of. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that. I do agree with that, and I do understand what you're saying. But I just looked to last season, and obviously the majority of the money went on Solanke and Archie Gray, right?
Yeah.
So players we really only bought was not Bergvall, sorry, because Bergvall was done in the window before, really.
Yeah.
We bought Odobert, who's 35 mil, right?
Yeah.
And we bought Archie Gray, who was 40 mil, so that's 75 mil. And then Solanke was 65, so that was like your 120 mil just there. Bam, bam, thank you. So that's why I said 3 players.
Okay. Yeah.
That season, we had just finished 5th when that got us Europa. Do you know what I'm saying? And if we were to win Europa only gives you 35 mil for winning a competition. Now, if you get Champions League football, that's like 80 mil, isn't it? But I don't know if that shows up in this summer's accounts or next summer's accounts. That's the thing. I don't know. So I don't know if there's a hint of truth that Levy is saying, you know, like all these protests are happening. You guys think you're getting a big war chest. It's not happening. Do you know what I mean? So I still have a bit of conservatism, if that makes sense, I'm not going to be crazy and say, yeah, we need at least 4 players or at least 5 players need to come in and they need to be 50 million each and blah, blah. Like, we already have identified Angel Gomez on the free, and we've been linked with Jonathan David for a long time, who's also on a free. Do you know what I'm saying? So that tells me everything I need to know what direction we're going in. So that's the reason why I was like, 3 players. Obviously, Wilfin Diddy, 9 million. He's a DM. Should we look at him? Premier League experience, 28 years old, and then you've got.
Sorry to interrupt you, but does his character? Because I mean, I presume you've seen him more than I have. Does his characteristics fit what we need? That I mean, you just like spending 9 mil is like, you know, not that big of a deal. But if you're going to spend 9 mil on something that you don't need, you're wasting money, right?
No, of course, but he's a DM, and I'm looking at it as Wolfie and Didi. I tried to look at him compared to Gomez, because lots of people respect João Gomez, right? João Gomez plays for Wolves, yeah?
Yep.
And when last season people were like, oh, we need to get João Gomez in. He's a good player. We need to get him in. He's a good defensive midfielder. I looked at the stats, and he's actually got more tackles in than João Gomez. Do you know what I mean? And people rate him highly. And I said again, Wilfred Ndidi doesn't go to ground. And I think it was Maldini said a good sign of a good defender is if they don't go to the floor. And John Terry is a man that goes to the floor, slide tackles a lot, and people really rate him as a real good defender. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, look,
he was really good. He was really good before. He was really good before. I rated him before. I think it was under Brendan Rodgers, and I think
Brendan Rodgers at Leicester
just won the FA Cup. Just won the FA Cup, and then they got Semenya, I think it was, and Didi had a really good partnership with Tillemans. Had a really good partnership with Tillemans.
You took Tillemans away, and he's left.
Yeah.
Left with what? It was Harry Winks or Oliver Skip. Do you know what I mean? That's his midfield partner. So that's what I'm saying to you. Like, I don't know. Like, do you put Wilfred Ndidi next to someone that's got a better quality? Does he improve? Does his level go up? He's got the experience. He's a DM. He's someone that we need.
We need a similar sort of player to Tillemans, basically, and I think that player is kind of similar to which is Bentancur. Could it be? You know what I mean? So
I don't think Bentancur's got the same passing range as a Tillemans and can get on the turn, in my opinion. Like, Tillemans is really good at getting on a turn and getting his head up forward, and he can mix his game up. He can carry the ball from deep and make that transition from defense into attack really well. I liked him from Auxerre. I really liked Tillemans from a long time. We were actually looking at him to be a Dembele replacement. But then
I know this.
And then I won't do the violence. He went to Monaco and then went to Leicester. And even when he was at Leicester, I wanted him. And then he went to Aston Villa. It is what it is. But yeah, I'm just saying.
I didn't want him. He didn't want him.
You know, you talk about Monaco. They got that Kamara guy in the middle.
Yeah,
he's pretty nifty as well.
Yeah, they do.
It's funny how these players they can get them for cheap as well. Because look at the AC Milan midfielder that played against us. I forgot his name now. Central midfielder that they got for cheap, and he played against us. I can't remember his name now. But yeah, it will escape. It's escaped me now. I'll find it.
Naf Raider as well. Naf, I see you guys in there, man. Big up, man. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys. Big up. I know it's only Spurs chat. All right, come back tomorrow as well, because we will have the rivals in, and there'll be more general talk about Arsenal and whatnot. But right now, we're doing what Spurs fans do, and we're looking at scouting players. We're looking at players to improve our squad, because we did get mashed up by Liverpool 5-1. But we do have a semi-cup final. Put some respect on our name for Europa League Cup. It's our biggest game in how many years?
So, it was Roma. No, it was Roma. No, forget
it. You're talking about the French.
Roma. Sorry.
Tony, the French guy. I forget his name, man.
Vertu.
Yeah, Vertu. That's what you're talking about.
It was central pairing, I think it was. And I can't remember.
Vertu or the other guy that everyone was raving about.
Mano Kone.
Oh, Kone,
And
yeah, he's quality. Kone would have been brilliant for us. Yeah, he would have been.
And they got him for cheap. They
Price
got
was
him
right.
for cheap.
Locatelli was doing the rounds as well. He would have been decent as well, Locatelli.
I think people looked at him and they said he's a carbon copy of Bentancur, but he used to play in a double pivot with Bentancur in a 4-4-2. Imagine that, and that's what would hide the deficiencies of maybe like a Bentancur,
Possibly,
where you've got one behind. Because when you're playing a double pivot, one's played slightly in front and they play at an angle.
Yeah, depends on what role you give them. Yeah. So you got the destructor, you got the destructor or the lane stopper. Yeah, and then you got the other one who's creative and gets the ball off him and plays. Yeah, those kind of things. But then that doesn't happen always, because here in Spain, I think it was, I can't remember what team it was, ex Deportivo and Espanyol player Sergio, whatever his name was. He managed a lower position team, and his double pivots were two destructors,
right?
With the player up,
All right, boom. Check this here. Look at Wolves. Yeah, Wolves have a guy called Andre, plays next to Gomez. Andre is a destroyer as well. Do you know what I'm saying? He times his tackles to a perfection. He knows where to. But both of them can carry the ball from they can. I guarantee you, Andre next season, Man City or one of them top teams, they'll be looking at him. Trust me. He's like.
So it's like they're two weights, but more positioned defensively.
Exactly.
Because possibly they got more up here than they got down on the ground.
I think that's because of the coaching, though, bro. I think.
Of course, like you see that Wolves coach.
Yeah.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad. I know it's racism, but I know it's flavour of the month. I hear it, but he's taken more points for Man United from when Amorim was there, and they were like 14 points below, I think, Manchester United.
Yeah. They won loads of games.
Yeah, that's wild to me. So
I checked this last week. Sorry, I checked this last week that Wolves. I think it was before the Man United game.
Yeah.
In the last 5 games, Wolves were the only team to get 15 out of 15 points, and the second was I don't know, it was Newcastle, I think it was, but amazing. Wolves were like 5 out of 5. Amazing job they're doing over like Vitor Pereira, someone that is not exactly up there in the top 5 managers, but he's doing a great job at Wolves. So
Why is this guy? Why is Ange still here, bro? Why is
he still?
Because
get Vitor Pereira in from Wolves.
What would you say? You would sack Ange and let Matty Wells take over for the semi-cup final? The fans are going.
No. I'm just saying that just when we hear other managers doing what they're doing at the moment, and
you have to wait, bro. You have to wait and see.
Less resources. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Now I've got to go and say that. I've got to say to myself, this guy's going to be edged in history because he's won Europa League. What are we doing here? The world's gone mad. He's such a lucky manager, bro. Like look at the things that players that these managers have to deal with. Eddie Howe, that midfield.
Like you said earlier, remember the fans were on. Not the fans. Remember, it was the fans were on to Trippier. They were on to Trippier. He doesn't know what he's doing. What's he doing? Same thing what Tell was saying. You need to stick with the team. Stick with the team. They were on to Trippier. No, look, we got injuries. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? We got injuries. Copy, like a carbon copy, bro, of what's happening right now. So it's you just have to see it out. You have to weigh it out, whether we like it or not. It's just have to trust the process, bro.
Trust the process. Here we go again. I love that.
But if it isn't this process, Alex, it's the next one, isn't it? And you just have to trust the whole process, however long that it takes, or however long it lasts, and whoever it's with.
Yeah, I'll trust the process.
It's football, isn't it?
But I trust the process so much. Yeah, I'm going to soccer events and doing suit dancing, bruv, and going on dating apps. That sums it up perfectly, bruv. Anyway, moving on.
You know what? This Bill Bellingham guy, is interesting because it's like he's a box-to-box midfielder. He's not really a destroyer, but he does tackle a lot. He goes to ground. He does slide tackle. He's a man like, I don't know. You know how he's the profile. No, I'm not gonna do it. He's just a lot of energy. He's a lot of energy. I would say, is long-legged, covers a lot of ground.
To be fair, he does score goals. He does try and score goals.
Bellingham does.
Getting the box. He does get into the
Bellingham
box more.
scores goals. I think the technical base is better on a Joe Bellingham, in my opinion, from what Sarr is. I think Sarr
Sarr just try and score goals though. He has been trying to score.
Yeah,
goals.
yeah, no, he has. I think he has improved.
Regardless whether he's not a great footballer,
yeah,
he does try and score goals because I mean that goal that he scored against Chelsea. Look at he's getting into positions now. Regardless, what you say, regardless what we think about him, he does get into positions to score goals.
Do you think another coach can improve him like a Sarr? Do you think someone could get more out of Sarr, or do you think because he's going to be 23, in the summer?
Young, he's very young. Yeah.
He's 22 now, though. But I'm saying he's going to be 23. So, what do you class as young, Chris? What is young? Is 24 young? 23 young?
Anyone that's young enough to be my son is young.
Yeah, no, but in terms of football, because like football wise, because we do this thing where the players are young, they need more time. You need to give them more. Like for example, lots of people have said that about Johnson. Johnson's young, he needs more time. He's got a ceiling. This whatnot. What do you think Johnson needs more time? Because Johnson's 4? Is he? Is Johnson 24? Or is he 24?
I don't know how old he is. To be honest,
I'll find out now. I think Johnson is. I'll tell you now.
I think you're right about 24. I think
23. Johnson's 23. He's 24 in May.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Johnson's 24 in May. Sarr is 23 in June, I think, or September. I think it's September. Sorry, let me check. So what is young? 24, 23, like.
I think it's like after you're like over 21. I think you're young around that age anyway. When you're 22, 23, 24, I think you're getting on more adult now. You know what I mean? Heading towards.
I think it's relative. It definitely in all walks of life, but it's relative. You got your actual age and your relative age, right? Yeah. So, and that is 100% undebatable. Because you look at, for example, I don't know how old he was when he used to play for Leicester, but Soyuncu, or whatever you call him, right, the central defender, you remember, with the long hair that went to Atletico Madrid. He was young. He was youngish when he played for Leicester, right? But he acted like a flipping warrior that's been playing football for 20 years.
He did still.
And that happens as well. Look at Wharton. Wharton this season, or perhaps last season, but definitely this season, right, has been on everybody's lips. Everybody wants to sign this guy. How old is Wharton?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? But he doesn't play like he's. Sorry.
21.
He's 21. Exactly. But he's playing like he's a veteran. You see. So age, it depends. It depends. Young. I see Sarr. I see him lost around midfield, and I'm thinking this guy's like 17. He's like 16. He's like a new guy. Yeah. And look at his age. He's going to be 24. I mean, it is relative, and it depends on who sees and how you perceive things. I understand that, each to their own. But I don't know. Young, I can't answer that. I don't know. But 24 is getting on a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because I know. I often ask myself that question: when do we give that player that cut off? When's that grace go out the window? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I look at Johnson, and he is old now. Not old, but old enough. He's at that level where he's an adult. But then there's something about him that just screams youthfulness. I don't know I don't know if it's his actual looks.
He's too bland.
Or if it's the way he plays football. And I'm like, I feel like he needs to add another layer to his game. And I don't know, is this him? Or can he not get any better? Is this his level now? Or has he got more to go up? Am I making sense?
In my opinion, there are players that look like they've been playing football for 20 years. And then you've got Johnson, who's older, like 24, and looks like he doesn't know what he's doing sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like.
He's too bland. He's too nice. Remember when Mourinho gave that speech, when we saw him, you got to be, you get my word, you get what he said. You got to go out there and you got to be, right? This Tottenham side has got very, very little C word in that. Very, very little. Right? And that's what you need. You could be a better or worse player, but if you've got attitude and if you've got someone you can pull and say, what are you doing, losing the ball here? I don't want to see that again. And not putting it on the manager, as I said before, but in game, like on the actual pitch, your actual teammate, Who does that in this team?
Wait, is that age or is that character? Because
I think it's characters.
This is what I'm trying to say. Are we blurring the lines now between age and characters now?
Because age is relative. Age is relative.
I think Levy's done a blinder on us. For me, I think Levy's done a blinder on us. I think the fact that he's bringing youngsters, right? He knew exactly what the fan base is going to be like. Okay, it's like as soon as a youngster's coming in, like if he's not playing well, oh no, you can't have a go at him. He's young. He's young. You know what I mean? No, we can't have a go at him. You know what I mean? And then the whole thing about the nice guy thing. Well, Ashmatic, you know what I've been saying about us being the nice guy. You know what I've been saying. The players that we bought, some of them are nice guys. The only thing I would say about Bergvall, he has got a bit of arrogance about him, but I think he's got a little bit too much in him. Where I think
too much.
I do think sometimes you need a experienced player just to like you ain't there, son. You ain't there, son, yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because like I think he's got that. Sometimes he talks, he back chats to the referee too much. He's doing that too much to the referee, and he's been lucky that he hasn't got sent off yet. To be honest with you, but that's 18 being you.
Who would be the most kind of aggressive? Not aggressive, but I don't know what the word is.
Romero Bentancur.
That's it. Out of how many players in the squad?
Possibly.
You look at the Man United. Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say maybe I wouldn't call Kulu a nice guy, but he's got something about him, if that makes sense. I don't know.
He gets around the pitch. He gets around the pitch and shifts his weight a bit.
Yeah.
I think that's been to his detriment, though. I think Maddison's better because Maddison uses his when Maddison plays well. When you can get Maddison doing what he should be doing as a number 10, right? He is very, very effective, and he's our creative spark. Let's be honest here, right? Okay, but Kulu, he's a busy player. He's just a busy player, right? He runs about, but I mean, let's be honest here. Since he's come back, has he been great? No, he hasn't. He's been shit. He's been shit. Let's be honest here.
He hasn't looked great coming back from his injury, not at all.
Because he's tired. He's tired because he's ran ragged. Earlier part of the season, he's been running ragged, and we all said, he's gone. He's nearly gone. He's going to get an injury because he's in the red. He's in the red, and so happened. Look what happened. You know what I mean? And like since whenever Maddison comes off, to be fair to Bergvall, at least he tries to create. But when Maddison comes on, creativity is just gone.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think like we lack that player that can play that hard pass, that dangerous pass, that pass in between the lines, whatever you want to call it, that through ball, that key pass. That's what we're lacking at the moment.
Sorry to cut you off. I think Maddison can produce that, and he did produce that with Leicester because Vardy scored loads of goals. Long ball in behind or whatever into space. But it's the availability that you've got in front of you, as I said before, and I think that's just basic. Everybody knows that you can't pass to someone who's not there, right?
Yeah, but the way we play, we try to squeeze the pitch, and so there's not a lot of space in behind to play those type of killer balls into like your Vardys or a Son. And I think also where Maddison's not asked to drop back, but in the system, he plays as a 10, but then he drops into left midfielder role, then he drops into left back role, then he drops into the 6, and sometimes he attacks from deep. But like you can have, if you're a 10, you literally stay high up the pitch, and you're playing just behind the striker, and you're feeding them. Do you know what I'm saying? Where Solanke's off the ball work, and he's essentially being a 10. He's being a false 9 by doing that role he does, which is taking up roles where Maddison should be in. Maddison should be in that position, like doing that stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's where Maddison's getting drowned in almost in that system. He's not been able to thrive because he's been asked to do other things, unfortunately. But if we had, like you said before, 2 destroyers, 2 players where they've got something upstairs, the IQ upstairs, and they can sit positionally better, and they know when to go, when to sit, that would allow because remember, Tielemans was in the same side of Wilfred and Ndidi, Tielemans, and Maddison was in the same side. Imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Maddison was breaking records. He was getting so many goals and so many assists in that role. Do you know what I mean? So you're on mute, Mr. Box Office. We can't hear you. It's funny.
So you had Tielemans in centre midfield, right? And then you had the defensively, indeed, he'd been a defensive midfielder, right? And then Maddison's just been number 10. So, like, everybody to suit to everybody's role. And it was perfect for him. He wasn't doing what he's doing now, having to come back to get the ball and then try and be this defensive midfielder when he should be up the field.
It's very simple. You put Solanke up top, right, as a number 9. You don't make him drop back in.
Exactly.
You on the last defender. You make Maddison play in at 10 or around that area where he can thread the balls. He's closer to Solanke. And then you have your Bergvall and your Bentancur as a double pivot. Do you know what I'm saying? As a base for now. Because they would help each other defensively and offensively. Do you know what I mean? With the ball, without the ball.
100%.
Hopefully they would talk to each other, and it would be, and hopefully that would, you get the best out of you. You get the players thriving in the positions where they play best, essentially.
100%.
I mean, and you get your wingers, your 1v1 wingers in like your Odebergs, whatever you think about Tel. You've got Tel's a little bit more dynamic than Son is at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? And then you let them cross inside the box, or you sometimes let them, invert. You let the wingers invert at times, get into the pockets, and mix the game up, and allow the wingers, the fullbacks to overlap and get crosses into the box or cutbacks and get to the byline that way as well. Because a doggy can get to the byline and cut back. We saw that at the start of first season, the first 10 games, he was doing that. And equally, Spence can do that. We've seen him when he's come on, he can mix it up. That goal against Ipswich where he does little 1-2 with Maddison and he puts in the back of the net. And he linked up with Odeberg on that left-hand side as well, when Odeberg played on the left when he first came back against Ipswich. I don't know if you guys remember that goal. So we've actually got players that can do things, but they're being asked to do slightly different things in slightly different roles. It's just, sometimes I think it's, you know what it is? It's a time and place for certain tactics. And that's the reason why I think on Thursday, coming back just to finish up, because we have been going for like almost 3 hours now and it's late. I know Chris is suffering. I don't know what time it is there. I know it's ultra late.
It's 20 to 2.
Yes, Matt. Sorry. Yeah, we're gonna end it here. So I just want to ask about. I know Box Office has already come out and said we're going to win the cup and all that, but just a quick prediction on that kind of Bodo game, and what team would you want to see coming out? Like, what midfield do you play? Not what you think Andrew will play, but what midfield would you want to start against Bodo Glimt, and what do you reckon the score would be?
I'll just make it straight up because I've said it already on one other channel, and you'll find that out. Hopefully tomorrow, I think it is. We're beating Bodo Glimt 3-1 because we're gonna concede a goal. We're beating them 3-1.
Yeah.
For me, and I don't see anything different than that. And they've got 5 players out, I think it is as well. 5 important players as well.
What's the midfield? So I don't want to spoil your
midfield for me is I don't rate him still think he's okay. Berval, Bentancur, even though I still think he's a Juventus reject, and Maddison.
Fair enough. Chris?
Yeah, same midfield, because that's the most the midfield that's been used most, and I think it's probably our best midfield. I think it's a bit of a shame about Sarr, because I think I like him, and he does move around a lot and stuff, but I don't know. If we can get out the starting blocks well, I don't see why we can't beat them 4-0.
Fair enough.
And then in the second leg we can go and lose if we want to, and have a day off.
I predicted 3-1 in my head a while back, and then someone took my answer on a previous show, and I also had 4-0 in my head as well, and you just took that. So I'm going to go back to my original.
I'll say 5-0 if you want.
Now I'm going to go back to my original answer, 2-0, which I'm not sure. It's going to be a bit shaky because they said we're happy with 2-0 or a 3-1. They said they're happy with that to take that back to Bodo. How cheeky. Yeah, we need to punch them up. Listen, I said, Terry, look, I'll be real. I said Madison Kulu-Bergvall as well midfield. I think we go gun-ho. We throw the kitchen sink at them. The only reason why I say go gun-ho and play the high line and squeeze the pitch and all that, there's sometimes I feel like we do the horseshoe. And with Madison and Kulu, when he plays in that kind of right 8 and then Madison plays in the left 8, sometimes they interchange and sometimes they drift. And I remember against Man United when we played them at home, Madison and Kulu, they killed Manchester United. I remember that like it was yesterday. Kulu was physical. He drifted over to the right and he combined with Kulu. And sometimes, Madison, sometimes Kulu played like a false 9 because he's got the physicality. You can sting a ball into him and he won't lose it. He just won't lose it. Well, he did lose it against Liverpool, obviously. But
Are you talking about the Carabao Cup game? Carabao Cup one? Or are you
no.
This is the 3-0 away.
Yeah. This was the Prem one, not the one when Van der Ven did the mad run.
Oh, was that away from? Oh, yeah. I was
all the way back when
away from home. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the home one. I was like, really?
Not the cup one. Not the cup one. No. This is when
I know what you're talking about away from home. Yeah, 3-0.
We had Madison.
Yeah, 3-0 away.
And Kulu, and we were just killing it. We were just killing them.
Yeah.
And obviously we tried that again against. I think it was against West Ham. Was it West Ham? And it wasn't working. We had to bring Sarr on because the dynamic wasn't working. He took Madison off and he put Sarr on, and then we ended up peppering them 4-1. But I just want to see that. I just want to see us go relentless. I want to see like Tottenham just throw the kitchen sink at it. But yeah, guys, thanks for coming on. Big up to the chat as always. Big up to the panel. I want to ask Chris before you leave, do you have anything to promote? Anything fun? Nothing. All right, check you out.
Absolutely nothing.
Where can we find you so we can hound you on socials?
I'm on Chris Meta TV on Twitter, and my channel's gone a bit stale. I haven't been doing anything, just basically dealing with life. So yeah, I'm on Twitter, and that's about it really. Not much is coming out from me. So cool. There you go. Happy to be here, and anytime you need me, always available.
Box office, man. Go on, do your thing, man. Promote.
Bro. Like I say, I've been taking a little bit of a holiday because let's be honest here, talking about Tottenham is not really the best thing at the moment. Well, it's boring me. But to be honest with you, I'm very interested to see what happens because I think this whole thing with him winning this Europa League which is very, very interesting for me. Very interesting for myself as well, to be honest with you. I've, like I said, just done a new video earlier today. If you can like and subscribe, we're heading towards 2,000 subscribers. The most authentic guy on YouTube doesn't really go too much. Yeah, I try and rattle some people. Yeah, I do. But it's all about the fun. It's all about the games, and that's it for me. I am trying to switch it up a little bit, and I will be switching it up a little bit because
positive videos. Positive videos, yeah.
Well, different sort of videos, authentic sort of videos about Tottenham, but different side of things a little bit. You know what I mean? So we will be trying to switch it up, which I have promised a couple of times, and it will be doing that. But I'm trying to enjoy the summer as well because I'm sorry, but there's more to life in Tottenham. So yeah, like I say, but it's Mr. Box Office TV. We're heading towards 2,000 subscribers. I know you lot watch. Just subscribe. Please subscribe. And please and subscribe, and that's it. I do see Eugene in the chat. Big up to you. I'd love you to be a mod on my channel. But if I can get in contact with you and speak to you about that. And that's it. But yeah, big up to everybody. Big up to Chris. Big up to John. Big up to you, Ashmatic. Big up to Marlon. And thank you for inviting me. And and take care of yourselves. And onwards upwards to winning Europa League.
Bro, you know what? It's mad. I'm gonna finish on this. Yeah, big up to the chat each and every time. Yeah, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe and all them things there. But listen, whenever Spurs are the favourites, I worry. I do worry. It's when we're the underdogs and like no one sees it coming, we perform. It's weird. But I still think we're going to win, regardless. I still think, and I was doing some research and I looked at the Norwegian League where they're placed in the FIFA rankings. And guess what, guys? They are 17th ranked. 17th! So, yeah, I think we're going to get the job done regardless, man. But, yeah, we've got rivals on tomorrow. We're going to get into depth in terms of, like, Arsenal, PSG. I'm going to talk about Saka. I'm going to talk about Dembele, the matches up.
Don't give was it Stefan, right, and Chinks an easy time. Do not give them an easy time because I know they've been fucking gloating after bloody Real Madrid.
Bro, Liverpool just won the league. What the hell you expect's gonna happen? We've got Liverpool fans on, so we're good, man. You don't worry about that. But yeah, man, big up to the chat each and every time. Love for the love, and yeah, man. We'll end on that note, man. But come on, you Spurs, and let's get this win in, man. Let's get this win. Peace. Love.